The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is Holiday Episode 106. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D, or at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So, like I said, guys, it's the holiday episode. You know, we don't like to necessarily date ourselves and pigeonhole, but it's just like 3 days before Christmas when we're recording this, and by the time you hear it, Christmas has come and gone, and we are in the midst of gaming glory with all the presents that Santa brought. It is absolutely delightful, and to share in that wonderful Christmas spirit, I'm joined by Proulx. How are you doing, Proulx?
I'm doing great. What a wonderful Christmas it was. I got everything I asked for, and even more beyond my wildest dreams, I hope.
Isn't it fun being an adult where, like, you kind of, like, so my wife and I, you know, we lay out a list of all the things people have to buy for, and, you know, it's brothers, sisters, parents, blah, 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 all this stuff. Because we have two kids, we get the long list. Okay, the kids have to buy for my parents, the kids have to buy for her parents, the kids have to buy for my aunt, they have to buy for, who, you know, these people. So, like, the kids are getting all these gifts for people, and we have to get all these gifts for people. And so then it's like, all right, well, at some point, you know, you and I, my wife and I, should purchase gifts for each other. And so we set aside a little bit of money, and it's like, okay, well, what do you want? Well, the only time we ever get to shop, we're together anyway. And so, like, this year, my gift is some kickboxing gloves, which my wife has already bought. She bought it on Black Friday.
Wait a minute, hang on. I'm just a little confused by this concept. Kickboxing gloves. So are those gloves that
like
go on your feet?
Like sparring gloves. You know, there is punching in kickboxing.
I didn't know that. I assumed that kickboxing meant just... See, listen, Freem, there are two...
You have to have seen UFC before.
No, listen, UFC isn't that like a zillion different forms? Listen, Freem, there are two Pokemon, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. One uses his fists, one uses his feet. You don't get to switch and use them both. I assumed that kickboxing meant that you... Because you don't get to use your feet in boxing, so I assumed kickboxing meant you don't get to use your hands. I had no idea that you could punch people in kickboxing.
Yeah, totally.
No idea. That totally blows my mind.
I feel like there is and I'm sorry, I don't know my martial arts well enough. I'm sure there is a martial art that is only kicking allowed. But yes, no. Well, like so working out, right? We have sparring gloves, and so you do a mix of punches and kicks and whatnot. So I've already got mine. I've been using them for about a month. They're fantastic. They're like the Ferrari of kickboxing gloves, so I just love them.
God, but you say this, and I'm sorry, this is just mind-blowing to me. Like, what percentage of the time are you actually using your hands when you're kickboxing?
I mean, so of course I'm going up against a bag, so
right.
I don't need to block that much with a bag. It turns out it doesn't hit back, which is nice. But in theory, you know, you would do a lot of blocking, upper body blocking, because you're going to protect your face from, you know, high roundhouse kicks or other punches. You also use your shins and sides to block. And so, you know, there's a fair amount of that, but, like, it's hard to land a really powerful round kick if you're up close punching somebody, right? Because you don't have the distance, you don't have you can't get that leg all the way around. And so there is times when it's like you want to get in close and work the body of your opponent so you don't get it within striking distance of a whip kick to the face.
So really the only difference between kickboxing and regular boxing is that kicking is allowed in kickboxing.
Something like that. I mean, presumably there is, like, I'm sure there is a martial art where it's like, absolutely you are only allowed to use your feet. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's called kickboxing. I don't know.
I think I just think that the title
is like a workout.
Is all I'm saying. That's fine. Maybe it's my misconception, and I know that people had a bit of a tickle when I was talking about golf.
Oh, it was so much fun.
So maybe this will be another instance of that. But I literally had just had always just assumed kickboxing meant boxing with your feet. So,
and it's entirely possible if I legitimately wanted to compete in a kickboxing tournament, that would be the case. But because this is just working out and is aerobic type exercise, that we do a full body workout, and so that there's hooks and jabs and crosses and all sorts of stuff added with my variety of kicks. So anyway, I know what I'm getting. She went with me to buy a pair of boots, nice boots, and so she's like, man, I would have worn these this week too. It was perfect boot weather for these, and so she's so it's like there's no surprises left, and so now that I'm an adult, and the game sale came up, I just wrote down a list of titles here that I'm thinking I'm gonna just give myself a Christmas, and I got 9 games here. That's like, since I don't have a game share, buddy, I think this is gonna be Freem's gift to Freem, and he deserved it. He was a very good boy this year, so I'm excited for those.
Wait, you're gonna tell us the list? Yeah, of course.
Sure. So of the ones I don't have, these are like the good value ones. Enter the Gungeon, Manual Samuel. I mean, $2, right? Manual Samuel. Little Nightmares, the complete edition. I was looking at the Hasbro Super Pack, because it turns out I don't have any of those Hasbro games. The Monopolies, the Risks, any of that, and Boggle. And since I had already played 2 of those and not finished them, and then they got pulled, I figure I might as well just get them so I can, at some point, pretend like I'm going to complete those. Abzu's on the list. Virginia. What Remains of Edith Finch is a borderline one. Like, I feel like it's going to be cheaper, but I hear such amazing things about it. Like, I want to play it soon. And so I think at $13 that's a value, because I do want to play it right away. The Evil Within Season Pass and the Life is Strange before the Storm. Yeah, Before the Storm. So that's what I'm going to spend my money on.
Nice.
I think. Yeah, I'm probably going to do it.
Do it.
Yep. So that's the plan. Anyway, so yes, when this comes out, Christmas is come and gone. I'll be gallivanting all over the state of Minnesota, visiting in-laws, all sorts of fun holiday stuff like that. So I'm not even sure when I get to listen to this, but let's do a little bit of housekeeping stuff here, because I have a game mashup question to deal with. So if you didn't get last week's, I had a few entries of people who sent me a private message on Discord. And if you haven't been to the official ZZ Discord page, there are 2 ways to get there. You can go either through my old name link, discord.me/freemhole, or the new one, discord.io/Z2Z. All one word, ZEDTOZED. So that's the one we're going to start promoting. At some point, I'll drop the Freemhole one. Like, it'll still always work, but I'll stop mentioning it. And so, yes, discord.io/Z2Z. So what we have here is a before and after mashup of 2 games that you put the last word of the one game is the first word of the second game. And so week 5 was... Remember the UbiArt game depicting the Allied resistance to repel the relentless Skaven assault on Ubersreich? Didn't realize those rat men had access to mustard gas. Well, the answer to that one was Valiant Hearts, The Great Warhammer End Times, Vermintide. So Valiant Hearts, The Great War, Warhammer End Times, Vermintide, mashed up. There you go.
Clever.
That was a little sneaky, because Warhammer is actually one word, and the Great War was the end of... Anyway, it doesn't matter. So week 6, here we go. If you, like I said, if you have an answer to this, you can reach out to me on Discord and let me know. This mashup is all about time travel, whether returning to 1939 to join the Occupant Rebellion, or 2099 to figure out a convoluted world-ending plot. The gameplay features the precursor to bullet time by slowing down the action to battle and solve puzzles. It makes sense with this licensed character to have heightened senses. So there you go. That's a tricky one. I've actually never played either of these games of this mashup, but they're pretty popular. So.
I have a suspicion, at least, of one of the games, but I won't say it.
And you literally could look into the Trello page and find the answer.
Oh, I do. Yeah. So I,
if you are so inclined.
I won't do that. But
so there's that. All right. Let's see. What else I want to talk about? Oh yeah. So Proulx, you were excited because we actually get to record this a little bit earlier than you anticipated. Because you know me, I like to burn the midnight oil, and unfortunately, today is my dog's birthday. Okay, he turned 11, which is it's up there for a dog, but he's in good health, good shape. But he is blind. He has a full cataract in one eye, can't see a lick, and then his other eye is clouding over, and so he's like at 50% vision in that eye. So it's like he's looking through one eye through a frosted glass, and he's like, man, that sucks. But because he's healthy and he's in good shape, it's like, okay, we should do something about this and not put him down. Like that's off the table. I'm a happy pet owner and I love my dog. So we opted to have cataract surgery for him. And so for his birthday present today, we had surgery on him yesterday. And so he had a double cataract surgery. And so he should get 100% vision back in one eye and probably about 50% vision in the eye that was like totally blocked. And so he should be in pretty good shape after he heals, which is 2 weeks in this godforsaken cone.
Oh, no.
That he is just miserable. And, so he is on, we're doing, he's rivaling cancer patients with the amount of pills and ointments that he has to put on just to manage pain and manage infection and all that stuff. And so... that's why we're going to find a break somewhere in this show so I can go administer a series of eye drops to him. But the problem is he's so uncomfortable with this thing. He's not sleeping, which means when he's not sleeping, my wife's not sleeping. And when my wife's not sleeping, we're all dead.
I'm actually curious because I told you just a few weeks ago we just got a little pup. And
right.
How did you, you say it was his birthday?
Yep.
Is it actually officially his birthday? Because I'm we're at the point now, we should just pick a date. We know roughly when she was born, but we don't know specifically. Were you told, or I don't know how you
did? Yeah, we went to a puppy mill, and no, I'm just kidding. It was a breeder, and so we knew the breeder, and she told us the actual day that the litter was born. Mm-hmm. And typically, would you pick up your pup the earliest you possibly could, or?
She was pretty young at the time, but so we could roughly guess, and I don't think it's obviously very significant for a dog. We could just say, hey, she was born.
Yeah, you
mid
pretty much
this
could.
Month. But I was just curious because we're at the point where I'm like, we should just pick a date for her so she has a birthday.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun. Dog birthdays are great. We did that for my wife and I did that for our anniversary, not for our wedding anniversary. Obviously, that was a very specific date, and I know that date. But
we roughly got married in the mid-June time.
But
frame.
when we we didn't have a time when we considered ourselves officially dating, because we were kind of seeing each other, but I also had some other action, and I also there was never a clean break, and I wasn't sure she was into me kind of thing, and so there's a day when it's at this date, we absolutely were together, but a month before that, maybe. And so we just kind of picked a date out of midair, or let's do this one. So then I commemorated that date by proposing on that date. So now it's locked in. Regardless if that was our first quote unquote date, that was absolutely an important date because that's when I proposed kind of thing. So
that sort of thing is much more common now, because of things like Tinder and stuff. The dating scene is much more casual than it used to be. So it is harder, I think. You can always remember your first date technically, but when you officially become together, that sort of thing I think it's a little bit harder now than it used to be. At least it was when I was out and dating a bunch of people. So
yeah, a bunch of people. You liar. No, I'm just. But I'm despite how I sound, I am incredibly shy in social situations. I always have a drink in my hand, and that's typically gets me into trouble because I need that social inhibitor. I can't just be the life of the party. I just can't go in there and just engage in conversation with people. That's not my style. I'd much rather, hang back or go find the kids and go play with the kids in the area. Like that, adults and me, we don't really get along. And so, in these party situations and stuff, like especially if I'm, at the 4 stages of courting, it's very much like playing coy and dumb and, maybe real subtle hints. And then it's like, she'll even tell me, she's like, I am shocked you waited as long as you did to kiss me. And I'm like, well, I was just terrified. So that's why, I couldn't possibly think about making, I'm like the definition of a beta male, that it's not in my nature. I just don't do that. And so anyway, we are dramatically off topic. Yes, so why don't we pull it back to gaming? I haven't been on for a couple of weeks, and so, but to be honest, I haven't done a lot of variety. I've done a lot of variety in my gaming, especially with the 12 Days of Christmas thing. But really, there's only a few highlights that I want to touch on. I got four things here that I want to bring up. So I played Walking Dead Michonne, episode 1. It was. I didn't get any jank. That was kind of nice. But I think it was weird having a character that I have already a predetermined knowledge of. It's kind of cool to see your backstory and stuff, but like the first episode didn't hook me like I was hoping it would. And when you only have a 3-episode arc to do that, I feel like, wow, okay, that's a third of the game already done, and I'm not really in, how like the first episode really got me going in season 1, or like Tales from the Borderlands. Like those had some really great hooks in them, and I'm not sure Michonne has that. So
wait, so is it the same character? I know it's the same character, but is it the same? Because I know that the game universe and the television show and the that's all separate. But is it? Like, how close is she to? I assume you're talking about the television show,
the TV show, yeah.
Is she like? Is it basically spot on? Same? Like, is it modeled up to the actress or anything like that? Or
pretty close. It's much closer to the comic book arc. They take some liberties with the television show, and this, the idea is here to kind of try to fill in a little bit of her story, leading up to the events in the show. And so, you can kind of treat this as a prequel. And so maybe, again, we'll see where this arc ends, that whether or not she becomes the hardened badass that she is in the show. But, it's, they still want you to be emotionally invested. And so, like, the idea behind the show, and granted, I'm a little bit behind on the show still, like a couple seasons back, but the idea is that she's just stoic and unmoving, and you can play that character in this, but like, that's where I'm conflicted, because it's like I know how this character is supposed to be portrayed based on the actress's interpretation on the TV show, yet I don't know if I want her to be that way when I'm doing these dialogue options. Mm-hmm. So I think that just that being conflicted is making it a struggle for me to really engage with this storyline. And the other the supporting, the auxiliary characters I haven't seen anybody interesting yet. Yeah. So we'll see. The other one is so I've been playing Walking Dead Season 2 on the 360 as well. That was a random to-do list for me, and I also used that for my story-based achievements or 10 Gamerscore achievements. I don't remember. Either 11 or 12, 10. I think I'm still on 10. Anyway, so I was doing that, or wait, 8, whatever, it doesn't matter. I was working on this game, and I was using it through backwards compatibility. And I don't know if you've had this happen to you before, but so commonly you can get booted off of Xbox Live through the 360 emulator. So, like, you're still connected through the Xbox One, but you'll get the notification to say that you've been disconnected from Xbox Live, and then when you go and hit the double start and back buttons, you get the, like, hey, connect to Xbox Live. Oh, we have an error. We can't get on. I don't know. Has that ever happened to you before?
I've never had that issue. I'm kind of surprised by hearing, because I use backwards compatibility all the time. So I've never had that issue. No, that's surprising to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's weird, and it was super frustrating. And so it happened to be, I had to complete the first episode of season 2, where, Clementine gets locked in the shed and then has to go and fix her bandage, her wound and stuff. So I got disconnected. So I was in the process of cleaning the wound, which is just a horrible, horrible scene to have to play out. Like, it's long. Yeah, it's long. It's painful. It's both painful to watch and to envision, and it's very graphic. And so I made it all the way through that, and then I got to the point where the bandage drops on the ground, and the pop-up came up and said, "You've been disconnected." I'm like, I know there's an achievement coming up like in 2 seconds, and if I pop it offline, it's not going to count. I need these 10 Gamerscore. Like, I got to try to reboot. So over and over, I was trying to reinitialize Xbox Live. It wasn't working, and so I'm like, fine, okay. So I had to quit out of that. Rebooted it, didn't work. Still couldn't get online. Had to shut down my system, reboot the whole thing. Went back to it. Well, the checkpoint is at the start of that sequence, so I had to do that whole sequence over again.
Oh no!
And I was like, God, I hate this. Is like my least favorite part of this entire sequence is watching her sew up her arm. It's just gross.
Yep.
So anyway, got back online, got that achievement, finished that thing off, and then I went to level 22, the Gary's Adventure, where you try to sneak back into work, and I had a random to-do list for like one of the very last collectibles in that. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna finish this game. I essentially am getting like 15 achievements. I'll just get the last 2 for completing the game after that. And so I played level 22 to completion. And then the other thing, and this will be my win of the week, is I finally got to completion. This, again, random to-do list driven, because it was essentially beat the last boss. And I thought, well, if I'm going to beat the last boss, I might as well just complete the game. Child of Light. And actually used that for my co-op achievements. I don't know if you knew you could play that game co-op. It's a co-op RPG. The second controller gets to control the little light, Ignatius or whatever his name is, who can slow down enemies and pick up loot and open treasure chests and stuff. So my son played that character for like maybe 30 minutes and then got bored. But that does all count as co-op achievements. So I completed Child of Light for the 12 Days of Christmas and random to-do list, and finally got that game done. I love the art style in that game. The dialogue, well, the dialogue it's a great story. I like the story and it's interesting. The dialogue is written through rhymes, and so everything rhymes and is kind of like a limerick. And maybe if I sung it, it would be better. But like just reading it as a rhyme really annoyed me. I was like, just tell me what you're saying. Stop trying to like get all flowery.
And it's really forceful sometimes. Like, you can tell they're really stretching to try to get their message across when they're doing it. It's like, that doesn't really work, but okay, I guess I'll just go with it.
So, yeah, anyway. So that would be my win of the week, getting a Child of Light completed, knocking off both a random to-do list item and a 12 Days of Christmas item. So I'm killing it on random to-do list. I'm really excited for my progress this month.
Are you killing it? Because I think I'm still beating you.
Well, how much time? Yeah, you are still beating me, but I got 11 unlocked. How much time would you say you have to play video games?
Oh, I'm sure I have much more time than you know.
That's why I'm happy about my progress, is because I calculated it and I said I could get like my list. I could, is going to take me 140 hours to do. And then if I cut down the ones, for the entire month, if I cut them down, it's like I'm looking at realistically 80 hours to get like those attainable, quote unquote, attainable achievements. But I think I only have 60 hours in the month. So like I have to be pretty efficient with my gaming. And so I'm pretty happy with my output. But let's hear about your output. What have you been up to, Proulx? What's your win of the week? What kind of gaming you been up to?
So my win of the week is half my win of the week and half win of the week for the community. So it's really interesting. this episode is going to be coming out right between Christmas and New Year's. So what happens in the new year? Oh, lots of new things obviously happen, but G-Task is coming out, right? So the new G-Task stuff. So, the signups came out this week, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I did it casually last year, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it semi-casually this year as well. So I jumped on Discord, and I said, I don't know if I was the first one, but I was like...
I think you were the first.
I may have been the
second.
first one that said, hey, I'm free if anybody wants. Like, I'm cool to be semi-serious. I'd like to make it as far as possible. Not going to kill myself to do it, but I'd like to see how far we can go.
Yeah.
So the guest host and fellow community member Mighty Mango, who was on last week, he said, yeah, let's do it. I'll join you and we'll form a team. And I was like, okay, that's cool, because there's only 2-man teams this year. And so in order to do that, we need to come up with a team name. And I said, all right, let's do this. So this was all on Discord one morning, and it was a really fun experience. There was a bunch of people in the room just trying to come up with the best pun that involved both my name and Mango's name.
Yeah, I had so much fun trying to come up with stuff. It was great. There
was probably like 10 people in there suggesting different things. Skeptical Mario is me and Mango, but then we were all coming up with halfway decent puns, right? Because it's tough to find a good pun with both names that works perfectly.
Right. And
then What the Fug just comes out of nowhere with the perfect pun for our team name. And he suggests, there's a bunch of different suggestions. Some of them are, you're stretching it. Some of them are, okay, that's pretty good. And then What the Fug says, how about it takes Proulx to Mango?
Which is brilliant.
Oh my goodness. I think he floored everybody in the room with that fantastic suggestion. And we were on board right away. Mango created the team immediately, and that's our team name. And, it's not necessarily an achievement related thing, but it is. And it was so perfect that could not have been, that put the smile on my face the whole day. I was just so happy. I thought that was brilliant. And so you're going to be hearing about It Takes Proulx to Mango, right, hopefully for a good long time to come, if everything goes
extended period of time, huh?
Yeah. And then what I've been playing other than that, I can't remember if I finished my 12 Days of Christmas. I can't remember if I did talk about it last. I'm sure I talked about it. I don't remember if I finished before last week's episode or not.
No, but you did not.
I didn't. Okay, thank you. So I did finish it. Which, man, again, Fream, props, because this was a great competition. I loved the variety. I wanted to get it done as soon as possible, especially that last one, because that last one is you can definitely hurt yourself if you're not careful.
It's fun looking at Discord and seeing some of like the self-imposed challenges where like people are finishing with a 1.11, like just incrementing it by a 0.01 and they're going for a golf score on their ratio. It's great.
Yeah, it was funny because when I was doing it, you obviously, it just basically sorts by ratio. And I'm like, I was really stressing in the beginning. I was like, man, I have to find one, at 1.02 and then at 1.03. And then I'm like, I have a zillion achievements. I just go down my list and find the next easiest one to get. Yeah. And that worked for me. I can't remember. I'll pull it up here. My last ratio was a 1.5. So, not crazy. But it gave me some wiggle room to do just some easy stuff that I wanted to get done. Anyways, but it was a fantastic competition. The variety that forced you to kind of get creative with all these different achievements. Man, I loved it. I had a blast. Cool. It was a great competition. So that's mostly what I focused on. And then other than that, I've been working on still some, Telltale stuff. So Minecraft on 2 different versions. Okay, so real quick story. I wanted to get Minecraft done first on PC, Minecraft Season 2 on Windows 10. I had no idea, no expectations about, I didn't really expect to get it, but I would like to be towards the top. So I get up to episode 4 done. ahead of time. I think right before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'll see, maybe I don't get the first, maybe I'll get top 10 and that'd be fine. But I'll beat the game when I get home, on when it comes out. The final chapter comes out on Tuesday. Before I even left work, I think it was like 4 o'clock I checked, there were 25 other people that had already completed Minecraft Season 2 on Windows 10. And I'm like, God, I think it was 26th or 27th or something like that. I'm like, man, it just came out today. I'm very surprised to see that many people. I'd love to get number 1 in a game someday. I thought that might be a good chance, but no, not even close. So just working on that sort of stuff. And then that's pretty much it for me.
Nice. You know what else I've been doing a lot of? So I had to work late on Wednesday night. I was doing a validation batch, and that batch happens to take between 20 and 24 hours to just make. Just because it's so big, it literally takes that long to do. And so it's 9-10 p.m. at work. Nobody's around, and I'm just waiting for this stupid batch to cool down so I can add some stuff. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch Hype Zone on Mixer and get some PUBG action here. And so, I watched probably, an hour of PUBG. So what the Hype Zone does is it goes to whatever games are the closest to chicken dinners, who are the closest to finishing. Because, I don't want to see, as interesting as it is when you have the 100 people, I don't want to see people running around collecting gear and camping inside houses and just doing stupid crap like that. But when you get down to the top 20 or top 15, that's when things, and you got a tiny little circle and pushing all those people together, that's when things get real fun. So I just spent my time in Hype Zone watching people more often than not fail and not get the chicken dinner, but there's plenty of them in there. That game looks sweet. Did you end up, now you saw NBA Kirkland made a post in the Discord chat about you people who bought Best Buy Xbox One X's. Did you try his little trick?
So I didn't yet, but I will. I think I will tomorrow. I had also seen some articles about this, I think the day before, but he kind of laid it out pretty clearly. Basically, if you bought an Xbox One X, or at least if you do now, I think it is, you get a code for PUBG for free, as well as, I think, a $50 gift card as well.
That's what the current promotion is at Best Buy, yes.
Yeah, so I am definitely going to try tomorrow. It doesn't seem like they will put up too much of a fuss. And I was actually just shy of pulling the trigger on buying that game this week. There was a deal that they were selling PUBG for $30, and it came with Titanfall 2 for free.
Yes.
So I was going to do that, but if I can get it for free, because I'm interested in PUBG. I know I have some friends that are probably going to get into it, and I certainly wouldn't mind trying it. I also have a lot of friends that are really into Fortnite right now, and they're kind of waffling between Fortnite and PUBG. So we'll see how that goes. But obviously it's a pretty big deal, and people seem to love it, and it seems like the kind of game that I would have fun with my friends, so I'll probably end up trying it at some point here.
Yeah, I'm almost nervous to try it. I know I'm just going to get my crap beat out of me.
Yeah.
I just am not good at those types of games, but, I also feel like it's one of those games that you give me about 2 hours into it, and I'm going to be going for another 2, 3, 4, and all of a sudden the sun comes up, and you're like, damn it. I gotta go to work in 10 minutes. That was stupid. I feel it. Awesome. Well, let's move on. We got some topics and some news items here I wanted to touch on. Surprisingly, some actual, it's literally, when we're recording this, days before Christmas. When this comes out, it's just after Christmas. And so, usually everybody's gone. I don't know what work was like for you, but nobody was at work for me today.
Yep.
And I was the only one wearing my stupid Christmas sweater. That was frustrating.
Wait. Do you actually, you don't wear a coat or a lab coat or anything, do you, when you're at work?
If I'm in the lab, I do, or I'm doing batches, but typically no. I wore they sent out an email saying ugly Christmas sweater on Friday, and nobody wore it. I was like, you leave me out.
I actually won a $10 gift card at work for wearing my ugly Christmas sweater earlier on this week. So I have an I have an 8-bit Santa. Okay. So it's basically just a pattern of repeating Santas with made out of basically pixels, blocks, and I was kind of the only one that participated that day, like you. And
so you won by default.
Kind of, yeah, I did, and I got $10 in Amazon credit. So
that's not so bad.
No.
Mine, so I had two. So we had our normal holiday party on Tuesday where we did like a little gift exchange, kind of stuff like that. So I have one. It's a red sweater that has a reindeer on it with dollar signs knitted into it, and it says "Make it rain." REIN.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Clever. So that was a fun one. But my more ridiculous one is it is green with tinsel on it, and then in a hood, and on the top of the hood is a star, and then down the side, going down the length of my arm on both sides, are extensions that turn my body into a Christmas tree. So if I put my arms down to my sides, I have spikes sticking off that look like the branches of a Christmas tree.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And so I wear my brown, khaki pants so that I look like I have a tree trunk, and I essentially am a human Christmas tree. It's great. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, surprisingly, there's actually things to talk about. And one thing it was fun to see on Twitter, and I'm excited for this myself. I know it exists, but somebody posted a video of the Xbox Juan. I don't know if you've seen him on Twitter before, but he took a video of him and his son playing Rocket League, which is great. Rocket League's so much fun, except he was playing on his Switch, and his son was playing on his Xbox.
Nice.
And they were cross-playing together, and I'm just thinking, like, when my son now is the proud owner of a Switch, he and I can play Rocket League together in the same house on two separate screens instead of split screening it like we have been. Like, this is going to be great. I'm so excited. I can't wait for crossplay.
Keep in mind, though, there are limitations. Like you have to, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, so the community will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can only play private matches with people from other platforms.
Other ilk.
Yeah. Which is, I'm sure it's fine. But so you can't play matchmaking, essentially, is how it works.
Yeah, so the game Brawlout, you remember we talked about that a while ago?
Yeah. Did it come out?
Type game? It did. It came out for the Switch. It came out for the Switch this last week. And so they had an AMA on Reddit today. And so, and I had mentioned, I've even sent up a tweet this week just saying, hey, congrats on the Switch release. Like, I'm excited about that. You guys, still planning on the Xbox One? And they immediately replied to me saying it's in certification.
Oh,
so
good.
It's,
okay, good.
It's coming out in 2018 at some point. And I asked them about in the AMA, hey, like, it would be really great if we could play cross-platform on this. And his answer, so I didn't realize, I know there's a huge esports community behind Smash Brothers. Like, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how serious the Brawlout guys were taking it, because they said, well, here's the issue. In doing crossplay with Switch and Xbox, there's an inherent, you have to do another connection, and so there's an inherent lag, which equates to about 4 to 8 frames of a delay, and so I'm just not sure that's going to fly for our game. And I'm thinking, dude, I just want, like, if I could play a Smash Brothers type game, just mucking around, like, I totally want to do that. Like, give me my casual fighter. I'm not in it for the pro sports. Evo championship type stuff. Like, I just want Smash Brothers on my Xbox. Like,
it's kind of surprising that if that is the case, like, that they're concerned about that. I think they're putting the cart before the horse for sure. Like, it is important to play for competitive Smash, like you say. Those frames are super important.
Oh yeah.
I guess they're assuming that Brawlout is going to become somewhat competitive at some point. I think that's pretty optimistic of them. Like you, I think that they would more want to cater towards the casual people who just want to play. It's also very surprising that they released that Switch version first because, obviously the Xbox One version was in development earlier, and why release on the Nintendo platform when that's where you're going to face your stiffest competition?
100%. I thought the same thing. I'm like, you literally are going to Smash Brothers' house and trying to beat them?
Yeah, like, that doesn't make any sense. But
PlayStation and Xbox do not have any game like this right now. I mean, yeah, maybe if you want to call the PlayStation All-Stars game. Maybe.
Yeah, from like 8 years ago. Yeah, no.
But anyway, it's likely just that it's bogged down in some development stuff, certification, with balancing. So we'll see. Anyway, that was cool. Here's a piece of news. I gotta say this because I talked about my dog. I love animals, and some of our animals that you might be aware of are they're struggling, and it there could be for different reasons. And this one is our closest in terms of intelligence, so I've heard, dolphins, and these particular dolphins they live down in Mexico. This affects seals and things too in the area. But here's an article from The Guardian. I'm just gonna read it here. Read the first paragraph. A species of Mexican fish amasses in reproductive orgies so loud they can deafen other sea animals. Odd scientists have said, calling for the preservation of the spectacle that is threatened by overfishing. So what ends up happening is so just at the where Baja is in Mexico. There's that little that little finger island that comes down off the bottom of Mexico by California there. In that bay in there, that little gulf, that's where all these fish, this particular species of fish, goes to mate, and so you get millions that show up there, and they go there once a year. And so what ends up happening is the sound levels are so high that you can actually hear them outside of the water, and of course it carries even further underneath. So it's talking to all these scientists, and they're saying these spawning events are among the loudest wildlife events found on the planet. They're the loudest sound ever recorded for a fish species. So these frequencies, the fish is called the corvina. They are deafening seals, sea lions, and dolphins who show up because they're like, oh my god, there's so many fish here, I'm going to eat for days. Yet then they end up permanently damaging their hearing because of these giant fish orgies. And so not only are people trying to protect those animals, but then because you can hear it from the surface, all these fishing boats show up and they're just catching thousands and thousands of fish in their nets and threatening this particular species. So maybe because I'm trying to think what time of year this is. Is this like now? This might be something you want to make an excursion down to Mexico for, just to hear the this crazy fish orgy for your own edification. What do you think, Proulx? Does this do anything for you?
I can't say it does, but it is interesting at least. I listened to some of the recording that they have, and yeah, okay.
Sounds like a party.
It sounds like a party. I guess an underwater party, sure.
Water sports, you're saying?
Yeah. I don't know. This is a very strange story. But apparently they're very concerned now because, like you say, that the noise draws the fishing boats, and like the entire species population is in this one area generally at the time, and they're just getting gobbled up. So who knows what's going to happen to these poor fish who can't you hear about these stories sometimes about people in apartment buildings or with neighbors nearby that can't keep themselves quiet. I guess this is kind of like that.
There you go. Fish, get out of here. Get a room. So I got one more non-Xbox related story, but I think it is important and we should talk about it. It's regarding Apple. Most of you are familiar with that. And now you and I are both Android users, right? That's
actually I have both, only because work issues me an iPhone. So I use both, but yeah, personally I'm an Android user.
So let's talk about the bad news first. and this is really making the rounds. I'm reading an article on Mashable right now that and it was based on an interview where Apple, John Poole, one of the developers, said that they deliberately slow down your phones, older phones, when new updates come out. They're saying in an effort to protect your phone from shutting itself down and overheating.
So this is really interesting to me because I work in IT, right? So you hear these things all the time. Every time a new update comes out, it seems like my phone's going slower and slower, and it's very it's very anecdotal. But sometimes you also are like, well, okay, I can see your point. It does seem to be going slower. You generally attribute that to the fact that, well, it's
getting older.
It's older hardware, so it would naturally not work as well with the newer software. But then sometimes you would always suspect, well, okay, maybe sometimes these people have something. It's amazing. I really do think it's amazing that this story came out because
totally agree.
Apple admitted to throttling it, and now maybe we can debate whether their excuse is legitimate or not, but they did. They are absolutely saying, yes, we are slowing down older hardware, for whatever reason, and that's amazing. And I really do think they're going to get torn a new one. I think Samsung, all these other manufacturers are going to take this and run with it because, hey, we don't slow your stuff down. This is tremendous. I think this is a really important thing that they've come out. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it is fascinating, and it's a really interesting.
I think it's remarkable that, like, let's try and sit in their shoes and think, like, like the excuse they came up with, the reason they came up with, like, yes, that is a viable reason. We don't want to inconvenience our users by having their phone shut off by itself, overheating and shutting itself down. Like that's kind of annoying. So we're doing you a benefit. And it's like, okay, but like, how about you just let me tell you how I want? Like, I want full power. Like, and if my phone shuts off and I got to reboot it, then I'll deal with that when that gets there. But it's just interesting because, of course, naturally, they also have the added benefit of then that sort of activity is going to encourage people to upgrade to a newer phone. And that's exactly it.
Conveniently enough.
Right.
So it's like, if you had transparency, if they said, hey, there's a new update, your phone is kind of older. Would you prefer that maybe it'll overheat sometimes and kick off, or would you prefer just a slower... a
safer run, or whatever.
Exactly. It's like exactly.
Archive mode, or I don't know what you want. Yes, you come up with some clever marketing name.
Yeah, exactly. And because I assume and I imagine that the phones shutting off due to newer OSs is a tiny sliver. It's probably the super duper power users who are running whatever all the time, and like for the average Joe, for the user that is just using it, it's not going to be a big deal. You're just texting people, you're looking at YouTube. It's no big deal. I'm all 100% sure that Apple is looking at the people on the side. And I think this is a watershed moment, honestly, in tech, especially in phone tech, because this is crazy.
I agree. I was very shocked that this came out. Now, Apple, in all, like you said, transparency, which I think transparency is great. And I'm just, again, shocked that there wasn't marketing spin on this. But Apple's, the good news from Apple's transparency is there was an article shared that was through the Apple Developer Program. And it was their guidelines that came to light, and in one of them, section 3.1.1, in-app purchases, Apple is now mandating that any apps offering quote-unquote loot boxes or other mechanisms that provide randomized virtual items must disclose the odds of receiving each type of item to customers prior to purchase. So Apple is mandating that if you got loot boxes, you gotta let them know what the likelihood of getting a specific item is. I think that you said watershed moment. This is what I like to see. I like to see, especially a platform level, say, we are drawing the line here. Like, it's not like a developer saying, well, no, as a developer, we're going to do this. This is top-level stuff saying, if you want to publish on my, and this is a massive store, if you want to publish this type of activity, you need to share. And this just might be reading the tea leaves and understanding, okay, legislation's likely coming. Let's get ahead of it and pick up some goodwill. But they're doing it nonetheless. It's happening now. Yeah,
no, I mean, really, if you want anybody to get ahead of this, it's going to be Apple, because they will change how developers think about these sorts of things. iOS is obviously a massive platform, and for the people that are really concerned about the loot box situation, this is fantastic news. They're setting a trend, and I guarantee you that obviously Star Wars Battlefront isn't coming out on iOS, but EA wants to be on that platform, so they will follow those rules, and it should set a precedent for other developers to follow.
Yeah, I agree, and granted, it's not getting rid of loot boxes. Okay, I think that ship has sailed. I don't think you can realistically take them out of our gaming system right now. The only way that they will leave is if people don't buy them, if people stop buying them. But man, I've been playing Rocket League and the snow event, and they're giving me 5 keys if I play enough. And it's like, man, it's so fun opening loot boxes.
Well, and Rocket League does it so well because it's purely cosmetic. And it's and they give you a lot for free. Like, you play and you get stuff, and then if you want more, you can get more. But it makes no difference on your gameplay. It's just what you see on the outside. And I think Rocket League is one of the perfect examples of how you can have both. The developers can have that system. They can get their money because people still do pay for it. Yeah. But it's not inconveniencing the users and everybody. It's a win-win for, I think, everybody.
So my son has been playing Rocket League on my account, and he got a decryptor from the snow event and opened one of his boxes. He had a ton of them, and he ended up getting, and I am so jealous. And of course, he used a decryptor, so you can't trade it. But he got this. It's a Dominus skin, which, like, Dominus is my car. I like the Dominus. And it's that metallic, that shiny, like, dragon scale snake skin one. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, it looks so good. I'm like, I want that skin so bad. And I'm just thinking, like, if he's playing his Switch and I'm playing it, and, like, I see, like, the Samus car, or one of the Mario cars come up, and I'm driving, an Xbox, like, I'm going to have to hit him with that armadillo, I think. Just to show him.
Except the armadillo is so ugly, but I guess you could.
But, like, I'm going to be super jealous of those cars, too. And, of course, I can't get those on my platform. But anyway, yeah. So, great. Apple, thank you for at least, trying to engage the industry in making some minor changes to how loot boxes are perceived. I'm curious if... what would be the recourse then if a company, like, disclosed the odds and was lying about it? Like,
well,
like, you got a 1% chance here, and then you actually was like, actually it's a 0.1% chance.
It kind of sounds like what Destiny's is getting in trouble for nowadays, huh? But I you're right. The industry can't self-regulate forever. There's got to be somebody else that comes in and says.
And how do you prove it out? Like, I assume there has to be some sort of third party that's, like, running the algorithm to say, okay, like, I just did a simulation of 10,000 loot box openings, and yes, your algorithm spits out these percentages.
Yep. We'll get there someday. We're really in the early days of this sort of stuff, so we're kind of in the take advantage of people at this point, but it will even out over time.
It should. So we're in the early days of that. We are in the late days of 2017, and that's really what ultimately I want the crux of the show after, like, so starting now to talk about, even though we've got plenty of feedback and stuff I want to get to as well. Plus, I want to talk about last episode, You guys had some really great conversations that I want to circle back to. But it is the end of the year. This is our last episode that comes out before 2018. And so what I think we want to do is kind of do a year in review, just a couple of highlights things, because really the beauty, maybe it's not the beauty, the nature of our show, the nature of our community is that we as achievement hunters don't tend to play that many new games. Like, given the grand scheme of all the things that come out, we typically have backlogs that rival other gamers' collections tenfold. And we're always grinding and spending way more time than we probably should on games. And, so I look at, like you said, you play a ton of backwards compatible games. Well, guess what? Those backwards compatible games, when's the last 360 game that came out? 2013? 2014? Did you play one? They came out in 2014?
No.
Yeah. So, we're playing games that are 3 plus 4, 5 years old. But there were a few things in 2017 that we should probably talk about. TA did a great job. They do their Game of the Year thing all the time. And granted, it's a popularity contest, but it does provide some semblance of what the popular games were. Did you vote on the Game of the Year through TA at all?
I did not.
You did not get around to it.
No.
Okay, because I got some behind the scenes stuff, and I'm just throwing this out there. There were some real challenges with this because of the new genre system. The new genre system that we put in, where a bunch of different things can apply for other genres all over the place. Going into it, Assassin's Creed Origins, which is TA's Game of the Year, it ended up with Game of the Year and 3 other awards: Best Action Adventure, Best Xbox One Enhanced Game, and the TA Playlist Game of the Year. It was in the running for 8 awards based on the genre because people threw on open world, people threw on RPG, people threw on it was insane. And we looked at the list and we're like, okay, we got to go back to our old genre system. This is we can't have one game winning 8 awards just because it happens to be the most popular. It was a very good game, but it can't win just because it's the most popular and most people have played it. Because when you do those drop-down menus, if you lock it down to games that only you have played, I think my list of games I played in that released in 2017, I think was 23 games total. Which, yeah, and they certainly were not AAA games. There were a ton of 2017 indies I played, and of those, none of them are going to possibly eclipse Game of the Year, except for maybe Cuphead. Anyway, so you can see through the list on TrueAchievements.com what the Game of the Year nominees or the winners were. But for my personal, Cuphead won. It got second place for overall Game of the Year, and it was the best platformer. It was Cuphead, and also the best ID at Xbox game. Cuphead is great. It's just, if you haven't sat in front of that, it's one thing to watch a YouTube video, and you get a great sense of what that game is by watching, videos and commercials and stuff on it, but actually getting to feel it and see the responsiveness of that thing, that is just a wonder. It is really a remarkable game. So kudos to Studio MDHR for that one. So I'm buying this for my nephew-in-law, I think is the relationship. Anyway, he's part of our family now, and so we got him a game code, but I don't want to just give him 25 letters. So I went out and bought a cup, a white cup, and I'm going to make that into a Cuphead head with straw, and I'm going to put the game code inside Cuphead's head. So that's my craft for the weekend before I actually have to physically give it to him.
Is it going to be the red one or the blue one?
Red.
Is that the player one? Or can you pick?
Yeah.
I don't know how the game works at all.
That is player 1. That is Cuphead.
Okay.
Player 2, the blue one, is Mugman.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at my cup here, it really should be Mughead, because it's deep like a mug with some semblance of a straight line, but there is a curvature to it like Cuphead has. Oh, I'm kind of torn. The cup I happen to purchase is literally halfway between a cup and a mug.
Oh no! Well, so you could do blue and red then.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do Mughead. It'll be a new guy.
There you go.
Their little brother Mughead. I'm gonna give him. Maybe I should give him some real nasty scars though. Like he's not mom and dad's favorite. He's been ignored by the head family.
So you're gonna break this cup before you give it to your nephew?
Well, I don't. I think I'll just draw it on there. I'll get one of those.
Okay,
it's a ceramic mug, so I could doll it up with some art, some graphics, and create this persona of, you know what? He's gonna be the villain. He's gonna be the villain in the. So now that they've licked the devil, Cuphead 2 is gonna focus on Mughead, their younger brother, who is he's like Syndrome from The Incredibles.
The Incredibles, yeah, nice.
Yeah, he's just so upset that Mugman.
Oh, you caught me monologuing.
Anyway, looking at this list, Proulx, anything stand out to you of some games that you really enjoyed from 2017? Some of the highlights.
I played 1, 2, 3 of the games. So we have, when you go to the TA Game of the Year awards page, it shows you the winner and what they won for, and then the runner-up. And I played 3 of the games. I played Mass Effect Andromeda, 4, I guess, South Park Fractured But Whole. I also played, where did it go? Oh, I don't know if Ultimate Word Games. Oh no, Solitaire doesn't count for that. Life is Strange, Before the Storm, and something else I can't remember what I put. Anyways, Yooka-Laylee.
There you go.
Oh wait, Cuphead beat Yooka-Laylee for platformer? Isn't Cuphead a shoot 'em up though?
Nah, I think it has that title on there as well, but
so I haven't played Cuphead. I'm not really offended that they picked Cuphead over Yooka-Laylee, but I'm just surprised that it was chosen for best platformer. Anyways, yeah. I cheated on my game of the year essentially.
Okay.
Because it didn't come out in 2017, but I spent all of 2017 playing it, and that is of course Rocket League. So Rocket League is my game of the year because I didn't start playing it until the very end of December of last year. Right. But I spent most of the year playing it, so that's my game of the year, even though it doesn't count.
I messed this up. So there is a way to look, Proulx, at games that you've played in 2017.
Okay.
If you go to My Game Collection on TrueAchievements.com, you can go to the View and Filter options and put release date as one of the headers, a sortable header. And so if you put release date and then click on it, it'll show you, all the games that were released in that time period.
Yeah. Okay.
So and then if you want to see games that you actually played, like, 'cause of course my games collection has significantly more games on there that I haven't played. Like, I own a lot from 2017, I just haven't played them yet, and so you get a list there. So looking at my list here, I have, like I said, it's not even 20. I have 13. It's even lower.
Yeah. Okay. So if I actually have to pick a game that came out this year, and people are gonna hang out, they're gonna hate on me. I know. But by far, my favorite game that came out this year, that I'm still loving it, is Clicker Heroes.
Yeah, that's I can't believe that has to count.
It does count.
Look at my list. Okay, so Cuphead, awesome. Destiny 2, okay. Runbow, I played. Black and White Bushido, World of the West, ACA Neo Geo Last Resort. Actually, that's the only ACA Neo Geo game I played. Because I was like, I should complete it. And so I played about halfway through, and I'm like, I'm not having fun. I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
I have 3 or 4.
Yeah. Arrow. Arrow's great. I really enjoyed that. Some new DLC just came out for that. A bunch of new songs. You know what else just came out with new DLC I got the email for? Happy Wars.
Never played it.
You never played Happy Wars?
Nope.
I played that back on the 360, and then they re-released it for the One, and when I logged in, like, I had tons of stuff automatically unlocked for me because I had played so much of it. Now, granted, I haven't played it for, like, 2 years, but I'm curious. I looked at some of the things, and it was, like, complete story mode. It's like, well, I completed story mode on the 360. I wonder if it'll retroactively unlock. If I should go boot that up tonight and see if I get a flood of achievements that come through. More on that next week. We'll see if that works out.
You know, I will say one of my big surprises this year, which I didn't realize just came out this year. I thought it was a little older than that. Was the Marvel Heroes Omega stuff? I really enjoyed the game for the 3 weeks that I got to play it.
So it came out. Oh man! So it came out this year, and it was shut down.
Yep. It came out in June, and it was shut down in November. So
that is a tight window.
Yeah. So, but I really enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's necessarily like Game of the Year material, but it was a surprise. It was probably the biggest surprise for me for 2017.
Are you? So we got our games with gold for January. That another Van Helsing game is coming out, and then someone mentioned that that's like a Diablo-esque game, which isn't Marvel Heroes Omega a Diablo-esque game?
Oh yes, very much. And I was the one actually talking about it. And I was asking, is it co-op? And they were saying yes. I mean, if there were people that wanted to play it, I would jump all over it. I like those Diablo games. And if there's a co-op group that wants to go through those games, I don't know if they're good or terrible or somewhere in between. But I would definitely play them as long as you have a good co-op group. For me, that is going to be the sort of, you do it or you don't, and that's what it's based on for me. I would definitely pick up any game if I have a good, fun co-op group to play the game with. So I would play through the whole series if there is a group that wanted to do it. But I don't know anything about the games. They could be not even worth it for all I know.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess I don't know either. And I'm currently in a Diablo-like game. It's called Diablo.
You're still working? Oh, you're doing all the versions though, aren't you?
Yeah. We're on Reaper of Souls, the 360 version right now.
Does that have the Necromancer?
No, it does not.
Okay.
But you have to get all 6 characters up to level 70. That's a doozy.
Yeah, that's
a doozy. And one of those has to be hardcore. We're not quite there yet. We didn't even finish the story yet. We're about almost through Act 5, and we're almost finished with it, but Saucy bailed on us this week, so we went and started up new characters and got those going. I know, right? What the hell? Other things for 2017. Did you, at the start of the year, did you ever come up with a list of, like, your goals, your 2017 goals?
I did. I had 3.
Did you? How are you going on those? I know technically 2017 is not over yet, but it's pretty darn close. Are you gonna achieve these goals?
So I had 2 hard goals and 1 soft goal. That's what she said. So I wanted to hit. I think it was 250 was my 250K was my original goal, which I hit way in time. I think I have to be a little more ambitious. And then I wanted to hit 70%. Completion percentage, so then I could, because at that point I was only including DLC that I owned.
Yeah.
So I did that, I think, in September or October. So now I switched to all DLC, which obviously bumped me down, I don't know, 5 or 6 percentage points.
Right.
So I'm trying to recover that. So I did hit both of those goals. My lofty goal was to complete as much Halo as I could, and I would say I was pretty successful. I completed Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, Halo 4. I'm a good chunk done with Halo 5 at this point, as well as Spartan Assault on both Xbox One and Xbox 360. So, I mean, I do have a lot of Halo to go.
Yeah.
but I completed a whole bunch, and I'm on my way. Maybe 2018 will be the year that I can actually have all Halos completed. Well, at least all available Halos completed. That would be really fantastic. Obviously, Master Chief Collection is going to be the big one. But I'm very, very... but other than the Halo thing, I think I was a little conservative on my goals. I think I want to push myself a little more in 2018. I had already set a goal on TA.
For next year.
For next year. As soon as I hit 250, I was like, okay, I'll set my goal for... I think I set it for 350 by the end of 2018, and I'm already like 19% done. So I think I'm gonna reset that goal
for start of the year thing.
Yeah, for the start of the year, and probably for 400. Yeah, I think I need to be a little more ambitious with my goals.
Yeah, well, we get to talk about that next week. That'll be next week's show. We'll do a goals for 2018. We'll look ahead, kind of get our mouths salivating over all the fun things that are going to be coming out in 2018. My 2017 goals, so I always make a list of 10 gaming goals, 10 non-gaming goals. Like that's my MO, and I'll stick with my gaming goals. I went 6 out of 10. Some of them were kind of dumb. So let's do my let's start with the negative. Completing the 2017 completions challenge. I totally failed that. I didn't do that. I hit 23 completed games this year. Did not make my 30 list. So I'm probably gonna having to put the 2018 completion challenge on here. Give it another shot. That's a lofty goal for me, and so I like having that as a target. So I did not do that. I did not complete Disney Infinities. I was so close on all of them. I have 2 of the games left, the 3.0 version and both versions on the Xbox One, the Marvel Superheroes and Disney 3.0, that I want to complete. And I literally have, I guess I have the 2 DLCs yet in Marvel. I own them, but I never put them in, and I didn't bother. So I think I ended up earning like 2 achievements in those games for the entire year. Just not happening. So I did not complete Disney Infinities. The other 2 nopes for me, I wanted to get 140 completed games. I ended up with 125, so I was 15 completed games short. Random to-do list is not conducive to completing games. It is to getting specific achievements, and so I end up switching gears before I actually polish these things off. So I fell short of that goal, and I missed my Gamerscore goal. I wanted to hit 200,000 Gamerscore by the end of the year, and I'm going to end up with 190,000. So I will be 10,000 Gamerscore short. It was close. But not quite there. As far as the goals that I did set and did in fact complete, did not get kicked out of the RTDL. I did that. I made it the entire year with unlocking at least 1 achievement in every month. So that was nice. Again, that's not terribly difficult to do. Just like buying an Elite controller. I have one of those. That was not difficult, especially since I was pretty sure I was getting one for my birthday, which was in February. So I got that one pretty quick. Also qualifying for every gamer tag challenge. Again, that was a little trickier, but I did indeed qualify for all those. I completed Destiny again twice, so that one was achieved. And then as far as milestones, I had 2 milestones that I managed to get. 7,500 achievements for total, right? So that was, I don't remember what the climb had to be there. I think it was like 1,200 achievements, 1,100 achievements. That's about my yearly average. Well, I nailed it. I crushed that one. 7,850. So that's another 350 achievements over that. I think I'll probably finish the year at 1,500 achievements, which is probably going to be next year's goal. I'll have to look at the metrics a little bit on that one. And then TA score. I wanted to eclipse 300,000 TA, which, a bit of a stretch for me. And it was 316 is where I'm at right now. So that was, it was a pretty big. I had some nice ratios in there to finish that one out. I should look at my my period summaries for 2017 so far. Again, not all inclusive of 2017, but I'm going to end up with probably about 1,500 achievements, probably in the area of 50,000 gamer score. Not quite. I don't think I'll quite get to 50,000 gamer score, and about probably 75,000 true achievement points. I got my 24 completions, played 155 games. I feel like that's high. I should look in comparative charts on 2016 and 2015 and just see how that goes. But all of that information is going to go and shape my goals for 2018. So I think all in all, a relatively successful 2017. Not too shabby. I like setting those goals. Those are fun.
Yeah, those are.
Especially when you long range them and just hope for the best. So let's kind of do a little bit of a year in review here. We had talked about some of the good things, good games, exciting games that we played. Lord Trebello asked, what's your biggest video game disappointment of 2017? He had mentioned EA's handling of Battlefront 2 that sticks out for him. That was pretty bad. Do you have a kind of a gaming disappointment of 2017?
I do. And it's cliche, and I kind of feel bad for saying it, but it has to be Mass Effect Andromeda.
That was pretty terrible.
I wasn't as harsh on it as a lot of other people were, but as a massive fan of the series, it's essentially led to at least the temporary death of Mass Effect, and we're not getting any DLC. The studio shut down, and not that I was thirsty and that I wanted another Mass Effect Andromeda. I didn't need Mass Effect Andromeda 2, because it was mismanaged in a lot of significant ways. But I don't want to see no Mass Effect. So that's definitely disappointing, because it's probably my favorite series. It's one of my favorite series, certainly, and to not get any for the foreseeable future is rough.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. That actually also happens to be Kotaku's number one, was just how awful Mass Effect Andromeda came out and failed. Mine, and it's kind of more of a general thing of 2017, but the rise of loot boxes. Just in general, 2017 to me became the flood of loot boxes and microtransactions and stuff, and how disgusting it has gotten. They've always been around, and they'd always been I'm not really a fan. Okay, it's cosmetic only. Okay, it's just time related. You're just saving time. To then it's just blatantly nope, single player games, pay to win, here we go. Let's just a full on loot box everything, buy what you want whenever you want to break the game. I'm boy, we didn't step into that one. That we just full on, let's do it. And that bothers me that the gaming has felt the need to, I don't want to say exploit, because they need to supplement the companies, the developers need to make money, and so I get it. They're trying to find other ways to, support development of all their projects, but with how much they just embraced this real sleazy kind of approach to it and prying upon people's naivete and just reaching deep into their wallets without them even thinking about it. Really, really rubs me the wrong way.
I think it's interesting you brought that up. I think that loot boxes might make. I think it might be a meaty enough topic for us to talk about on a future podcast. You know what I mean? It hasn't. I would love to just dig into it. We haven't really talked about it. I'm kidding.
It rarely comes up.
I'm kidding, of course. It seems like this is a topic that comes up all the time, but I understand it. And we talked about this when the whole Star Wars thing was going on, and hopefully, maybe, possibly, it hit at least somewhat of a breaking point with Battlefront. I agree. It doesn't bother me as much as it seems to bother a lot of other people, but yeah, it's getting out of hand, and the developers definitely need to know that there are limits to this sort of stuff that they should be allowed to do.
Yeah. Another disappointment of mine, and I obviously you won't share
Destiny.
this.
Say Destiny.
It is Destiny.
Yes.
Destiny 2. As excited as I was that like the progression from Destiny 1 with each subsequent DLC and where they were going, like I felt like they had a really good idea and understanding of what they needed to do for Destiny 2. And maybe for me it was just the timing, and there's still plenty of Destiny 2 for me to do, and I will like it and I'll enjoy the part of it, but like seeing where it has progressed and what the end game is like for that has really given me no interest to go back and try and better myself, because while trying to make it more approachable for wider audiences, they took out the magic that made the original Destiny so enjoyable, and why I put, thousands of hours into that game, or hundreds of hours, I guess, almost 1,000 hours into that game. That's kind of a bummer, and so maybe they can fix it, but it's just not happening.
I don't want to rain on your parade or be happy for your disappointment, but it does give me a good amount of Gamerscore that that Destiny 2 is as disappointing as it is. Just because I am so upset about Destiny 1 still, but that's just me. I understand.
Yeah. You'll probably actually like Destiny 2.
I'll never know.
Yeah, so that was kind of a disappointment as well. Was there anything else that I was just kind of looking around for? I mean, there's plenty of things that just sucked in 2017. Like there was, and I try to stay away from the negativity, like because this just really doesn't get you anywhere. Like so, for instance, my and I don't think I've talked about this on the show yet. My gym that I go to they've changed owners. And so this week happened to be the first week where the new owners took over, and so I'm going into it with an open mind, and I'm going to do my best. But I'm not a huge fan of change. I understand it's inevitable, but I don't necessarily want to embrace it. And these particular owners were not very good in their change control, their change management. They because I'm an instructor, right, that they essentially fired us all through a mass email saying, hey, by the way, that schedule, that don't bother, we're going to take over now. So that was kind of annoying that they didn't handle that a little nicer, and then kind of just saying, and my wife like absolutely freaks out about this type of stuff. They're kind of condescending to us, like, oh, it's cute that you guys do your little workouts, but we'll show you what a real workout is. And so that Monday kickboxing class that they did was like, it's like when you go to college and they're like, oh, you want to be a psych major, huh? Okay, well, here's Psych 101. Bam! And they hit you with like just crap, and you're like, oh, this is what a stupid weeder class. Like, you want to stick this out? You want to go to the end? Well, this is what you're in for. And I feel like it was not indicative of what their plan is, and so I'm like, man, screw you guys. So anyway, where was I going with this story? I totally had a point, and now I lost it.
I'm not sure.
Change. So anyway, that was kind of just ultimately what I felt about 2017. Is like I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, but there's so many things that they keeps pulling me back in. And so globally, that's where I was going with this. Globally, I want to be positive, and I think when we get to 2018, and we'll talk about 2018, we can shift gears on this. But overall, like I look at the landscape of gaming from January to where we are now, and I look at what Nintendo has done, and I look at what Sony has done, and I compare them what Microsoft has done. Microsoft didn't really do anything this year. Aside from the Xbox One X, that was like they put all of their chips in a new piece of hardware, which, great. That's fantastic. But like watching the Game Awards and seeing all of the, the game nominees, it's like, where's all the Microsoft games? Like, is there any there? What does Microsoft have that separates themselves from their competition? And as of now, there isn't really. The best thing they have is to say, well, those games that you love, Witcher 3 got the new 4K patch out, Assassin's Creed Origins, Call of Duty, all these awesome AAA games that are all over play the best on the Xbox One X. But they're so hamstrung in their ability to market that they have to go through like guerrilla channels to get the word out, right? So it's like Twitter. It's all these Xbox heads on Twitter who have to say stuff like that. And guess what? PlayStation people aren't following those people necessarily. Those people don't reach the general population that much. We're kind of in our little closed-in video game group. It's like, yeah, I know a ton of stuff that's going on about Xbox. I don't know crap that's happening in Sony, really. I certainly to the level that I do about what the world of Xbox is. And I take all of that knowledge that I know about video games in general, and I talk to somebody who's like really big into, I don't know, pottery. Like they don't have a clue. So how are you going to get your message out to those people who don't even care? So that that's kind of frustrating. But that Microsoft hasn't put a lot together. Phil Spencer, I still believe in him, and I think he's going to get the company moving in the right spot. But I need to see some things. I'm really excited, but
it's interesting though because, and I haven't checked out a ton of video game press where they're kind of breaking down their games of the year and stuff like that. But I've seen a few, and generally it seems to be multi-platform stuff or Nintendo stuff, which is unsurprising. I don't know that there's a lot of, and maybe it's my ignorance or that I haven't played them, but I don't think there's a lot of Sony exclusive stuff that's been, there's maybe some, but not a ton that have been brandied about as Game of the Year. It seems to be Assassin's Creed obviously is up there, but obviously Breath of the Wild is up there towards the top of all these lists and stuff like that. So I don't know. I agree with you. I don't disagree with you that they've kind of, Microsoft has kind of dropped the ball as far as actual games are concerned. But 2017, other than a few standouts, doesn't seem to be super competitive in the Game of the Year sort of stuff.
No. Though, with PUBG coming out and saying, going live on Steam and whatnot, like, it's really causing people issues about how to treat that for Game of the Year contention. Since it's in early access, a lot of people just say, oh, no, I'm not counting it. But others are saying, well, no, it's going to get the 1.0 release on Steam, and so it's a launch game as terms of Steam games are concerned, so it should be in the conversation for Game of the Year. That's a tough case, but even just looking at the popularity in the game preview version on the Xbox, like, there's some crazy numbers going up for that. That's already a big deal. We knew it was going to be. We knew it was going to be immensely popular. But is that just the tip of the iceberg for Microsoft in terms of new and exciting things coming out for 2018? I guess we can hope.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else that I wanted to talk about? Did you have a favorite moment or a favorite game or any like just kind of one individual thing that stood out in particular in terms of 2017? I think like one moment for me, and it's pretty fresh in our minds, but like I am just so delighted with the 12 Days of Christmas event at True Achievements. I was really happy with how that turned out and all the positivity and how much fun that was. So that as a gaming moment was really cool. I'll be excited when I finish that list. It's a good challenge level for me in terms of just time and spent and how to get all the achievements I need in a month. It's a nice, mid-level challenge for me. So I've been enjoying that. And another moment, another concept that has really been wonderful is the random to-do list contest that we run here at Z2Z. Like, that is just, it continues to be one of my favorite monthly things. I mean, I lose so much productivity just spending a day reviewing my list and figuring out, what can I do this month, and how close am I to get that achievement, and does it cross over with the Gamertag challenge, and can I do anything else? And I just love thinking about video games in that way at the start of every month. And so random to-do list is on my list as well of really great moments.
Yeah, no, totally, I agree. I love random to-do lists. It's amazing, and I love that it's kind of hit this sort of second wind with the segment that we've started introducing here on the podcast with Elroy and El. It's awesome. I love to see more people participating in it. I do it halfway because I want to get this stuff done, and I do it halfway because it's slightly competitive. It's also like you just to see your name up there and with all these other people. I love that competition. It really does push me to do things that I wouldn't normally do, but that I should. So man, I agree. I would put that right at the top of my list.
Another one for me is completing Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
That was a monster undertaking by the community. I mean, I am shocked we made it as far as we did, but we got it, right? Like, I have it right here. I'm looking at it. Like, that was super cool and super fun. Took me 5 in-game days to beat that game. That is a monster. Yeah,
and fortunately, every single person completed it, and if anybody that doesn't have it done, well, I guess they don't deserve to have it done at this point.
Yeah, so. You don't count. You're not humans.
Yeah, no.
Get good.
Yeah.
Noob.
Yeah, that was our first real big community project, and it took some time for sure, but it was a very satisfying completion, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Anything else that sticks out? I guess just one other thing that I think is really great is just kind of, I feel like as a community, and our community has stepped up unbelievably. The Patreon, launching the Patreon and getting the response that we did from you amazing listeners and contributors and supporters of our show. I could not in my wildest dreams think that we'd get the response that we did and reach the milestones we did. So thank you to all of you that are patrons of our show and help us, continue to do this every week. We honestly couldn't do it without you, and so thank you so much for believing in us and supporting us, and hopefully we can do enough to encourage you to stay and be a part of our community. So that is probably number one gaming moment for this year for us, for me personally, is that response. You guys have just really stepped up, and that is amazing.
Yeah, I can only echo what Freem said there, because it was mind-blowing to see the response that we got so quickly. I mean, it was within a few days that we had hit our first milestone. And that sort of feedback, we're not perfect, but we try to do our best. And then just to get that sort of, everybody loves what we do and they want to see more of it, and you're willing to give in order to do that. That's amazing. And words can't even express how awesome that is to see that sort of feedback from the community. So thank you to everybody who contributes. And you know what? We hope, I know Freem, you said we'll talk next week about what's coming, but we just hope that 2018 is even bigger and better for everybody involved in Z2Z.
Hear. So you talked, we'll move into some more feedback, some questions from our community. But I want to do my episode 105 review. I think you and Mango and Randy did a great job. It was an entertaining episode. But you guys were talking about that 2017 quote-unquote year in review that Microsoft did. the 10 months in review, and it was brought up about Randy saying, like, what the hell? Like, how is this game in my top 5? And I had a very similar situation. It was Mass Effect. Mass Effect was my 5th highest played game. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Because I played a bunch of that in March, our Mass Effect month. But I think I played like 8 to 10 hours of that game in March. And now my 4 other games totally make sense. My top 4, Diablo, Titanfall, Destiny, and Plants vs. Zombies, right? All community boost games that we've been spending a ton of time in. Like, it totally makes sense. I've put way over 10 hours in those games. Okay. So I'm trying to think, like, did I play 10 hours of anything else? And it leads me to think, like, literally my daily login in Prominence Poker accumulates 10 hours for an entire year. Like, if it takes me 2 minutes to do, to boot up, and it takes me longer than 2 minutes. It takes me about 3 minutes to do. But if I did, so let's say it takes 3 minutes, 365 days. I mean, that's 1,000 minutes. Like, that's well over 10 hours. Like, I should have more time in just logging into Prominence Poker every day than the 10 hours of Mass Effect. And so I'm thinking, well, what are all these games that we're looking at, like, what's wrong with them have in common? And I'm wondering if it's something with backwards compatibility. If it's not logging you out of the game because it's still running the emulation, if that's still clocking time despite, not, so it's not like severing the tie, the connection, and it's still assuming, well, you're still playing that. Oh yeah, this gamer tag was last signed on another console. And so every time you boot up, it's still kind of keeping that in its memory enough that it's throwing, if you don't actively go and quit the game from my games and apps, if that's running a clock or a counter still and throwing off numbers. Any thoughts? What do you?
I don't know. It's possible, I suppose, but I generally tend to switch from games to games pretty frequently.
Yeah.
So I
Your
get
backwards compatibility stuff hasn't been an issue.
Yeah, no. It could have been a thing that I just didn't pick up on, but it is still weird. That still seems excessive. Like,
yeah.
Even if that's the case, say you stayed logged in on your BC stuff overnight, even if it was 3, 4, 5 times, that still wouldn't make up for the time. You know what I mean? Like, that seems really excessive. Like, the next day you would eventually start to play a different game, and it would stop that clock. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's tough.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I'm not sure. I want to see the numbers. Like, thanks for telling me the list. I want to know how long I played those games for. Anyway, 2 other things. You guys were talking about the final station and that the new DLC came out. And I distinctly remember, because I did the review Zed for that, and I distinctly remember that I was like, as the game progressed, I was like, I want to know more about this world. This world is super interesting, and as it's starting to get really good, the game ends. I'm like, come on, man. Like, you're just getting good. I'm just learning about the story. I want to know more about what happened. How are people surviving? What's going on? And, like, literally hearing you guys talk about the DLC is, like, exactly what I wanted. Like, you have to play the game with a different passenger who helps expand the world and give you more information about what the hell's going on. And, like, it's like, cool, okay. Now, granted, hopefully the gameplay makes up for that and it keeps me engaged for as long as it's going to take, the 12 playthroughs or whatever it's going to end up being. But, I was kind of happy about that, hearing, like, oh, so I do get to learn about the world. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. And then the last thing I want to touch on, you guys were talking about the PUBG retail box. Did you know? So you guys were talking about, like, what are you with Kronos? But what are you buying? Is that is it a physical good? Is it a service? Is blah blah blah, all that stuff? And you were bringing up that PUBG retail case. Did you know that's actually only a jewel case? There's no disc in there.
I just found out because, like I mentioned earlier on the show, there was a deal. I think it was Newegg that had it, that you would buy PUBG physical copy, quote unquote physical copy, and you would get Titanfall 2 as
Titanfall
well.
2, right.
Okay. I mean, I'm a person that likes physical copies.
Yeah.
I wish every jewel case came with a code so that you got both the physical and the digital versions. I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much, especially since.
No, the reason I think they did this, and it's a great idea. I mean, yeah, you get the digital code, but especially in the holiday time, it gives something that you can give to somebody to unwrap.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can unwrap it and be like, oh, it's the game, the disc. Look, I'm holding the jewel case. And you can put it on your shelf. You can have it as an item, right? Like, people still like to have a tangible thing. And then just, oh, yeah, but, it's actually just in the system. Like, you don't actually need to pop a disc out. We don't want to print those. That's expensive.
What I'm curious about
I like that idea.
Is if you buy... one of our listeners, I'm sure, can tell us. If you buy that physical case, does it have a place for the disc, or is that? I mean, I assume because all those.
I think it does.
I would assume it would, right? Because those things are fairly standard. But it would be really interesting if it actually just came with a box that size,
an empty, hollow.
Yeah.
And, to be honest, I mean, it could be like that's resin. You don't need to necessarily do. You can cut some grams out of the weight, and just by not putting plastic in there, I don't know.
And
I guess I haven't opened one.
Does it just come with one little tiny card with the code on it, with no instruction booklet? I'm just wondering how cheap they went. So if they went max cheap, there would be no place for a disc, one tiny little piece of paper that has the card on it, and that's it. So you're paying $30 for essentially nothing at that point.
Yeah, essentially nothing.
But
I mean, you're paying for the access to the game.
You're paying for the game
to get in the door. The cover charge. You're paying the cover charge.
But like in the same case, like I am one of those people that prefer to buy discs when possible. So I'll pay a little extra for the discs than I will for the digital versions. Like if a digital version goes on sale for $5 and the disc is $20, okay, I'll buy the digital version. But if it's 10 versus 20, 15 versus 20, it's then I just have to weigh my options at that point.
Yeah.
But here, there's no added benefit to buying the actual quote unquote physical version. So it's kind of an interesting concept here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like I said, gives them a shelf presence, stuff like that. Now, you guys had commented, has any game ever done this before? Like actually, like selling a physical item that before the game's actually even released? And Fortnite did. Fortnite was selling boxes
that you
like for $40, and those founder packs that you could get for $40. And what blows me away even more is that this game is still ultimately going to be free to play. Like they launched a not finished game for $40, and when it's done, it's going to be free. That's just crazy. Now, I don't know if that had a disc inside or not, or if that was just a game code to get into the preview, but Fortnite absolutely did it. There might have been other games before that I can't think of off the top of my head, but... Oh,
wait, Fortnite is going to be free.
Yeah, Fortnite.
Not PUBG. Okay. Yep.
No, Fortnite will, in fact, be free. Okay, now time for the hard-hitting questions here, Proulx. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. So pretend, and all of you people out there listening, you should do the same thing. Pretend you've got a plate in front of you and you're going to eat a steak, right? So you've got a fork and a knife in your hands, and you are going to cut a piece of that steak off, and then put it in your mouth. As a right-handed person, how do you hold the fork and knife? In terms of which hand is which. So you're cutting, right? Where's the fork?
If I'm cutting, the fork is in my left hand.
Yep, and so you're using the right hand to cut. Okay, now you need to put the meat in your mouth. What do?
You swap hands, obviously.
That is ridiculous. What's wrong with you people?
What are you talking about? Your primary action should be obviously performed by your primary hand. So if I'm cutting a steak...
Yeah.
You're going to stick with the left hand, the fork, and then cut with the right hand.
Right, because you're holding, right? Your left's not doing anything. It's holding the meat in place.
Exactly. And then if I'm going to eat that piece, I'll switch hands. I'm not going to bring the steak to my mouth with my left hand like a plebeian. I'm going to eat properly with my right hand with the fork in my right hand.
So I went to a dinner party and I'm watching. It was a massive table and I'm watching all these people eat steak. And this never occurred to me before because I am left-handed. And so when I eat, I cut steak with my right hand, right? So I've got the fork in my left hand, and I'm cutting the piece off, and then beautifully, because I'm left-handed, the piece of meat I have just freed on the fork can go right into my mouth. I do not need to move utensils around. The fork is already in my left hand, and I can cut with my right, eat, cut, eat, cut, eat. I don't have to do this little dance where I put the knife down and I pick up the fork with my right hand and then I move it to my mouth and then I switch hands again and I gotta do. I'm watching all these people eat and I'm like, what's wrong with you people? You literally can't take a fork from your left hand and put it in your mouth. So
is it possible that you're ambidextrous, or at least more so than you think you are?
The question is, I need to know of our left-handed listeners if indeed, like, if you had to cut a piece of meat. So I was looking around. I didn't see anybody who... The other two left-handed people I noticed did the same thing I did, is that they would use the fork in their left hand to hold the positioning and then bring the meat to their mouth with the left hand. And so I didn't see anybody left-handed cutting with their left hand. Maybe we just all learn to cut with our right hand because... Like everybody does. I don't know.
It's like that famous Simpsons episode, right, where Ned Flanders, he's left-handed, and he goes to the left-handed store and blah blah blah, and like scissors are all designed for right-handed people and all that sort of stuff. You may also just be accustomed to that sort of thing. And
I mean, they say that the death rate in left-handed people is higher than that of right-handed people because the world is not set up for us.
Yeah.
That inherently we will make more mistakes, and in some cases, those mistakes may kill us.
Yeah.
But I will admit, like, not having left-handed scissors in school growing up was annoying. That was the worst. Like, you'd cut paper and it would just slide in the middle. Like, you can't pinch the blades tight enough because they're all safety scissors. So it was like, this is stupid. Like, I just raised my hand and have my teacher cut for me. I'm like, I can't use these dumb scissors. Like, I'm left-handed. Get a real pair of scissors. So anyway, so I want to hear if you are left-handed and like only primary left-handed, because I do switch. I am ambidextrous. Like if I play sports and things, I'm right-handed. So if I throw a baseball, I throw with my right hand. If I, or football or something, throw a frisbee, I use my right hand.
If you're kickboxing, which hand do you punch with?
My stronger hand is, if you do both. But if I was getting into a fighting stance, I would put my left foot forward and use my right arm for crosses. Like, that's my power hand. So if I needed to do, like, a haymaker, it's coming from my right arm. That's my stronger arm.
Wait a minute. It's your stronger arm, but you're left-handed?
Yeah, so
you
my
write left-handed and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
My left hand is all dexterity-based, and my right hand is strength-based. So, if it's throwing something, building something, like if I need to use strength, it'll be with my right arm and right hand. If I need dexterity, like eating or drawing or painting, I use my left hand.
So you hammer with your right hand, but you draw with your left hand.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I can get on board.
So I'm curious if there are people out there who are 100% left-handed, if they do the fork and knife song and dance. Like you weird right-handed people do.
It's not a thing I do frequently. I don't eat steak that often, though. So
Proulx, why? It's so good.
I mean, I like steak.
Do you? Is it because you're poor?
No.
Are you like steak poor?
I don't. Steak is a little plain Jane for me, honestly. Generally speaking.
Oh man, you got to find someone who knows how to cook a steak. They're ruining it. If that's your statement, plain Jane. Trap those juices in there, man. Oh, just savor it.
All right.
That's this brings up a great question, and Koosh Moose asks, Proulx, why do you hate yourself so much that you will deny yourself from completing Guacamelee?
Oh, I saw this question, and to be fair, I have beaten the story in Guacamelee, just so everybody's clear, and I quite enjoyed the game. I just haven't finished. I haven't completed the game. So,
why? Just finish it, man.
I don't, because I have to play through again. I think, right? Don't you have to play through it twice?
Yeah, you do. Speed run.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what it is.
It's actually pretty short though. Like you can mainline it pretty quick because you don't have to do the collectibles, which is nice. You can just do main stuff, get your abilities, and just go.
It is a good game.
Terrible.
Yeah,
it's super fun.
I liked Guacamelee quite a bit. I don't think I liked it as much as most people seem to, but I enjoyed it. I don't have any complaints about Guacamelee.
It's no Forma 8, but...
Oh, God, Forma 8. Let's not talk about that. Let's not.
So, anyway, Saucy Slingo asks, this is holiday related, it's Christmas. He says, hey, I was happy to play Saints Row Re-Elected, the How the Saints Save Christmas DLC. What is your favorite holiday game? It doesn't have to necessarily be Christmas. It really can be any holiday from any time of the year, but any fun holiday-themed games that you enjoy?
Nothing that comes to my mind. So I've played that DLC quite a few times, and it is very festive and very holiday-themed. I don't know. Nothing, man.
I haven't played that one, and to be honest, the answer I'm going to give, I haven't played either, but it does tickle my fancy because I have played the normal game. It's The Escapists, Santa's Workshop, where, so I've played the prison escape version of The Escapists, and that's fun and interesting and stuff, and then to put the veneer of being an elf trying to escape Santa's workshop and not having to make toys and try to break out of that, I think is super interesting. So that's a holiday game that I've enjoyed. I do like when games that have a multiplayer presence or a persistent world do holiday themes, right? Like Overwatch will do its holiday themes. Destiny did some holiday stuff. The Halloween event in whatever game, the Valentine's Day event. I like those. Those are fun. A nice change of pace. Bring some new aesthetic to the world. Those are always interesting, not necessarily like groundbreaking or anything, but just kind of a cool change of pace.
Something I played this week that I didn't talk about and fits perfectly into what we're talking about. They've been doing the 12 days of Gearsmas.
Yes.
And I think it was the 10th or the 9th or 10th day that they had 5 times experience in the game. And obviously for 12 days they've had different things going on, but I generally ignored it because Gears always seems to have a lot of stuff going on, but I jumped in on that. We played some of this stuff, and that's really funny. So you had your Santa hat. All the characters had a Santa hat on, and it was it was fun. It was festive, and you got added bonus of having extra experience, and they actually had an extra mode. It was a variation on Horde mode. Oh God, I can't remember what it was called, but it was Juvie Jingles is what it was called, I think.
Okay.
And it was
like little weird white things. Right?
Yeah, basically they are the grunts of the Gears of War universe at this point.
Right.
The small, weak characters that can overwhelm you very quickly if there's a bunch of them, and that's essentially the whole point of this mode. Anyways, Gears has been on point with their I don't want to say their DLC, but their continued support of the game.
Right.
They had an October Halloween event where you could have, the Pumpkinhead sort of stuff, and now they're doing the Christmas sort of stuff, and it's not a whole game, but they have been really, really supportive of the community and of all the people playing the games, and it fits that sort of thing. I think they're doing it really well, and they enticed me and my friends to go back and play that game at least for a day. Sure. And I'm sure a lot of other people throughout the other stuff that they're doing. So I can't think of a specific holiday game, but I will say that sort of thing is fun to go back to and play.
Agreed. Agreed. Hey, Kushmoose, there's a conversation in our Discord, and if you wanted to be a part of this, I totally recommend you do. You go to discord.io/ZZ. But there was a conversation happening. Kushmoose said, I was looking back, and I saw that my first completion on TrueAchievements.com was Wordament iOS on December 22nd, 2012. Except his first achievement ever was December 23rd, 2005. So, in over almost 7 years until the day of his first completion. He doesn't know if that was intentional or not or what happened there, but he asks us, what are your first completions, and were they intentional or not? And so we went into TrueAchievements.com, looked at my completion times where you can find your earliest completion. Proulx, what was your earliest completion?
So according to TA, my earliest completion, and this kind of fits all together from what we were talking about earlier, was in fact the first Mass Effect game, which is kind of brilliant and amazing in a way, because I remember that was a game that sort of focused and encouraged me to actually get the whole thing done. It was a game that I was looking for more excuses to play 2, 3, 4 times, and the achievements were it. And it's possible that it's a little murky for me to remember now. It is possible that Mass Effect is one of the reasons that I'm into achievements at this point now. So thank you, Mass Effect.
That's 2 playthroughs.
It was
playthroughs.
3, I think. I think you need at least 3 for the first one. But I would play through that game 15 times if I had to. But it's a rare exception. Anyways, it's really fantastic that it was, and I'm very surprised also that it was my first completion. But there it is, the 7th of August, 2008, Mass Effect was the first thing that TA came up with as far as my first completion. What about you, Freem?
Yeah, my first completion was June 2008, and it was Assassin's Creed 1. I actually only played 2 games in June, Assassin's Creed 1 and Halo 3, for a whopping 32 achievements, 710 Gamerscore in the month of June of 2008. So my first achievement was on TA. So when I joined, when I got, I guess, Xbox Live Gold for the first time and was able to start getting timestamps on my achievements, it was November of 2007. In Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. But that's definitely not the case. And the reason I only got gold was to play Call of Duty in November, because I got my Xbox as a wedding gift in 2006, September of 2006. So there had to have been some offline achievements, most likely in Dead Rising 1, would have been my first achievement scored in September or October of 2006. So it took me about two years to get my first completion, because I definitely didn't complete any games before that. There's no way. So, and once I started doing Assassin's Creed, because there's one achievement in Assassin's Creed for getting all of the, you had to get all those stupid feathers, and is it the feathers and the flags? You got to get all the stupid flags in that, and completing the game 100%. And so that absolutely was intentional, getting that completion. But that's really what kind of spurred me on to being an achievement hunter. That and Dead Rising, trying to figure out how to do the 5-7 day survivor thing. It's funny to look back and see, 32 achievements in the month of June, 700 Gamerscore. I'm looking at my current December. I played 20 games so far in December, 6 completions, 92 achievements for 3,500 Gamerscore. And that's not even that big. That's just, that's what, 2/3 of a month. Yeah. I still have a full 10 days left of this month that I'll probably get up, about 5,000 Gamerscore, maybe add a couple more games, maybe completion, but I'll be at I'm usually at 120 to 150 achievements a month. How's that change? And so the other thing that we saw when we were looking at these stats is they, because they'll mark the day that you first play it, and then they'll mark the day that you complete it. And, if you happen to be focused on that game, which is nice about Xbox One now, is because it will actually do an in-game clock. Because you could say, I played it on this day, and then I waited next weekend, and I finished it. So in game, I probably played 3 hours, but TA says, well, it took you 7 days to beat it. It's like, well, it only took me 7 days is because I had to wait till the next Friday to finish. So we were looking at those days, those gaps, and the longest one I found was in Call of Duty 4. And that, from getting that completion, 1,353 days. Almost 4 years between when I started that game, got my first achievement, and when I finally just said, no, I got to finish this game and complete it. That was my longest one that I found. I thought that was interesting. I'm sure others have. Is there some people out there who had like some crazy long times?
Yeah, maybe you know what? I bought my 360. I waited in line at launch. Maybe I'll hold my last, because I played, or I only got Perfect Dark Zero that day. Maybe I'll hold that last achievement for as long as possible. And then maybe I'll have 10, 15, 20 years between when I started it and when I completed it. That would be fun.
That'd be pretty neat if you could hit it on the dot.
Yeah.
I like that. Final question from the community. JJ Aldana, he says, hey, so you guys were discussing ownership of games and mentioned older consoles like GameCube. So what do you guys think of modern emulation when it comes to these games, such as having emulated GameCube or Wii games and that support mods, 4K upscaling, fixing some of the bugs? The plus of having this content available on mobile or PC as opposed to just being dragged down by the old hardware. Do you guys have any opinions about this, between old versus new in hardware and retro gaming? On a side note, there are emulators that can actually upscale PlayStation 2, Wii, and Wii U, GameCube games all the way up to 4K, which is kind of cool. There's been some talk in the community. Mighty Mango started it by saying, actually, I don't really care for emulators. But I want to hear about your take, Proulx, before we go deeper into what Mango said and share my take on it as well. What is your feeling?
It's tough. With emulation, it's tough because it's generally just people. It's a passion project for people. They want to play these games. Of course they have the option to play them on the original hardware, but it's more convenient to not do that. I think the trend in the game industry in the past few years has been to re-release older games. Of course, you'd have to buy them, but re-release older games on newer systems. I guess that, what would you call that? Official emulation or some sort of, I don't know what you'd say, but I've played a lot of emulators in my time. And generally it's fine. It's okay. When they re-release a game, I would leave it to the professionals, let them re-release the game, and I would prefer to do that. Other than, I'm not going to go back and play Super Mario Brothers on the NES. It's not worth my time or effort to do that at this point. There are plenty of ways I could do that at this point. I'm sure I could do it in Chrome. I could do it in my web browser.
Oh, absolutely.
But I would prefer the most official way possible without price gouging me. So
like Nintendo, you mean?
Well, like Nintendo.
Hey, why don't you rebuy this again for the fourth time?
There are some things I don't mind to do that with. But emulation is good, and it's good enough, I think. If you're just trying to get the experience of the game out. It's not perfect, of course, and there are some idiosyncrasies that you're never going to hit. There are some sort of, and you're gonna hit bugs and glitches that don't feature in the original game as well. I don't know. Again, if there's an older game that's worth preserving, generally speaking, there have been re-releases. I would just rather play the re-release. That's just kind of how I am. But I've fiddled with all sorts of emulation. It just never seems to kind of live up to the original version.
Right. I am super torn on this, and so let me say, Mango, Mr. Mango, he says he says, I'm going to sound old here, but I enjoy games mostly on the hardware they're designed for. That you lose something special when it's emulated. I 100% share that point of view. I prefer the original game on the hardware and system that it's intended for. Old Super Nintendo games, Dreamcast, whatever it was. When I play those games at the time, there's something special that's there, and that this is the best of its time. This is, happening at this time for a reason. I remember very fondly when I first saw, I had been playing Nintendo constantly, and really liked playing Battletoads, doing stuff like that. And I went to my friend's house and saw the N64, not the N64, the Super Nintendo for the first time. And I looked at the controller, 4 freaking buttons. Are you kidding me? Like, my Nintendo controller has 2 buttons. Look at there. There's 4, X, Y, A, and B? Oh my goodness. And then you saw the graphics and you thought, it can't get any better than this. Like, this is amazing. Going from 8-bit Nintendo to 16-bit Super Nintendo. Oh, man, look at all the colors. It's so wonderful. And so you get an experience there that begins to shape your nostalgia glasses. And so, yes, that game should be like that. Now, the reason I'm towing the line is because emulation brings a new set of things that you can do. So, for instance, games like you look at the Xbox with Sonic the Hedgehog. You can play those games on the Xbox, and using an emulator, you have save states, which makes the games a lot easier. And so those games that you maybe got stuck on or couldn't get past or were too difficult or whatever, you can create a save state and get further in the game, experience more of the game potentially by giving yourself the opportunity to save state. I think of Battletoads with the rewind feature on Rare Replay.
Mm-hmm.
That tunnel was obscene. But now being able to save it and continue to practice and try, I get to see more of that game than I ever did when I was a kid, because I guess I couldn't get good enough. So as far as accessibility, I like emulation, that more people can do it. In terms of mods, I love watching people mod games. I think it's hilarious. Like, if I can watch that Left 4 Dead mod where they replace all the characters with the cast from Futurama, that is so funny, and it is awesome. And you're killing Zoidbergs all over the place. Like, that just fills my heart with joy. I just watched one recently, Grand Theft Auto 5 online has so many mod tools that I just watched somebody reskin one of the characters to be Cuphead. And he's running around with a fully automatic gun shooting out of his hand, blowing up cars, doing all sorts of... they made a Cuphead skin, and he's running around Los Santos, right? That's the city you're in.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Destroying everything. It is just brilliant. And so things like that are just wonderful. It lets people spurn their creative juices. It takes an existing game that it has an established set of physics, it has an established world, and then you add your own flavor to it. I think it also is really great for encouraging younger enthusiasts to learn how to code, to learn how to engage in their software and create this new level of game developers, people who like to go in and tinker with existing games, learn how they work, apply a new set of knowledge, and essentially self-teach themselves. Gosh, can't even talk. But create this foundation for game design and just fun and really engage in the medium. And so I like that type of thing in terms of emulation and mod support. So while part of me says no, that I'm a purist, I want to see it how it was meant to be done and things like that. I love the concept of preservation and creativity and people doing things outside of the norm. It's great. So I unfortunately have to toe the line on this answer, and it's kind of frustrating that I can't be definitive, but it's really a case by case basis for me.
And here's okay. So I do think this is very close to, and I've talked about this in the very recent past. I think this is very close to get off my lawn territory. If you put Sonic 2 in front of a person that's never played Sonic before on XBLA, and then you put the actual Sonic 2 in front of somebody who who's never played it, I almost guarantee they're going to pick the XBLA version for bazillions of reasons. Obviously the resolution is going to be upscaled. Obviously the save states, like you mentioned, are going to be there. They're going to have a modern controller. There's a zillion reasons why somebody now would prefer the updated version of those games. What do you lose in that transition? I mean, other than, like you said, Freem, you said, this is a purist's view. I want to have this sort of pure version of the game. But I don't know. Do you lose anything? If this is your first time playing Sonic 2 and it's on an Xbox, what are you losing? I don't know.
I guess from that point of view, you're not really losing anything because you have no frame of reference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a nostalgia thing. And I'm definitely tempted to sort of hit that line as well. But I try to be cognizant of the fact that things are different now. Things are way different now. And I would rather somebody experience Sonic 2 than not experience Sonic 2. And maybe they experience Sonic 2 on their phone. Whereas I had the clunky, awkward, ginormous, terrible Genesis controller. They now have their phone, and maybe it's not better or worse. It's somewhere in the middle. I don't know. I'm not sure. Emulation is tricky, but I think it can be done well, and it can improve on a game. Like you said, save states are way better than... Yeah. I played Sonic 2 so much in my youth and only got to stupid Oil Zone or whatever it was. I can't.
Well, I'm just thinking of the stupid Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Oh, with the dam level,
god awful sewer level or whatever. Yeah, the water level. Ugh. Yep. Actually, I have a right mind to go finish that. No, I don't. That game sucked. But yeah, no, it is what it is. I think that kind of does it for our show, Proulx. That does it. Yeah, essentially we're gonna wrap up 2017 with this show. I'm overall pretty happy with my work this year. Looking forward to 2018. There's some good stuff on the horizon. So catch us next episode for 2018 talk. We'll look ahead. We'll come up with some New Year's resolutions. We'll talk about you know what? At the end of this show, you'll hear in a little bit. I'm going to announce the 2018's Completions Challenge. Ooh. Yes, it's coming out. Here it is. It's a good time for it, good spot for it. So we've got that to look forward to. Proulx, what are you going to be up to this week? Presumably you've got holiday-related things. It's, between now and New Year's Eve. You got some time off? You going to play some games?
I am. I think I'm going to spend this week and next week as well, because I have a lot of time off that I have to spend. I think I'm going to do not a ginormous, but a good Gamerscore push. I want to get some stuff done. I'm going to start and complete, I hope, 4 to 5 games and get just get a good push towards the end of the year. This seems like a good time to do it. I'm going to go for it.
GCC, you might want to consider preloading those.
Yeah. Maybe
you're gonna let Mango down, man.
I will never let Mango down.
I'm still a free agent for GTA SC. I just signed up for the individual. I don't think anyone wants my pathetic score. Maybe Randy and I should just be out and make a ZZ team just as a. I'd say for promotional purposes, but when we lose in week 6, that's not. It's not gonna really help promote the show, since no one will see our gamer tags up there at the end leaderboards. I'm excited because I finished work today and I don't go back till after New Year's.
Ooh,
I took all of next week off. I've never done that before. So I'll be, unfortunately, my kids and wife will be around, so that despite having all this free time, they will be hogging the TVs. But of course, now my son will have a Switch for Christmas, and so I can just say, yeah, get off my TV. I'm playing Xbox. You go pull your Switch over and go play somewhere else. So that'll work out for the best. Now, as far as games I'm kind of interested in, I've got I do have to finish my Christmas challenge, the 12 Days of Christmas, and so I've lined up. I'm halfway through challenge 10. You know what I need to do is get those server-based Saints Row achievements. I got to do Saints Row 4 yet. I did Saints Row 3 last night, so that'll count for a 10 Gamerscore achievement. But then I'm gonna go into Recore. I'm gonna play Recore till I get all the 10 Gamerscore achievements I need. And I do have 2 random to-do list items in there. I'm gonna go after those, but they're a little deeper into the game. But I'm targeting that. And then challenge 11 is story based, right? So I'm going to I need to finish essentially 2 chapters of The Wolf Among Us. So that's my plan there, and then I'm gonna move into Battle Chasers Night War. So that game just came out as a Kickstarter I backed. It came out in October. I have 1 random to-do list item on there, and it's kind of it's like an old school JRPG turn-based combat type dungeon crawler, and I'm excited to give that a shot. I think the art style looks really cool, really slick, and the random to-do list item I think I can get before the end of the month, and it's a new game, so there should be some good ratios involved. So I'd be able to tap into that for my 12th day challenge. So that's on the docket for me. Looking forward to having all this time off. Of course, I'll be traveling quite a bit for the holidays, so be sporadic up until this show comes out. But then once the show comes out, moving into the 2018 show, I should have a good chunk of stuff to talk about. There are a few things I do want to talk about before we leave here, Proulx, and that's zombie news. I got 2 items here from zombie news, and one of them is immensely exciting. Was given to me by Miserly Pluto. Sent this to us on Twitter. Do you recall him doing Z-Town? That at the Melbourne campuses there, where you get to run around with Nerf guns and shoot zombies?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's coming to the United States. Sometime in 2018, they're partnering. Lifelike Touring and V-Star Entertainment has partnered to make an American version of this. There's no announcements yet. We don't know where or when or what it's going to end up being. That nothing's been confirmed yet. But if this is anywhere close to me at a time when I could possibly attend, you better believe I'm getting on this. I am so pumped. I've got Nerf pistols ready. My father-in-law had a bunch, for the kids. And when he passed away, we were cleaning out his garage, and I found 4 Nerf pistols with buckets of darts. And I'm like, to honor him, I'm going to take these and have an arsenal of Nerf guns for the inevitable Z-Town, event. And here it is, 2018. Might be my favorite year of all time. We'll see. I don't want to overhype it, but holy crap, I'm pumped. The other thing I'm excited for, the other piece of zombie news here, this was announced ages ago. Overkill, the studio's making The Walking Dead. Well, they started to release some more information here. We're starting to finally get some bits and bobs from that. And the first thing we got was a character trailer introducing us to one of the 4 characters, and this guy's name is Aiden, some type of overworked engineer-looking dude in Washington, D.C., and it just shows a little vignette of him, and then and shows the world he is now living in. But they also that was through a media release that they had. But there's also some information they provided like a dev diary type thing, and so they showed some of their concepts and walking around, how they create the world, things like that. But there was a piece of news that was really interesting. We don't know any specifics, but This was a quote from a press release. It says, players will band together with up to 3 friends on a variety of missions and raids, securing supplies and survivors to strengthen their base camp against the threat of both the living and the dead by any means necessary. So this game is going to have some type of raiding activity, okay? Well, that can mean a bunch of different things. That could mean Destiny-type raids where there's a long, difficult event that has, puzzle elements and things to it. That's one thing. A raid could be on more of a general scale of literally getting a group of people to smash a storefront or whatever and steal all the items from it and as a supply run. That could be a raid as well. I tend to think that from a gameplay perspective is not that exciting, that it's likely more on the Destiny type detailed mechanics type raid, but who knows, right? And I mean, this game is really, as of now, black box. Like we don't know what's inside. We don't know what really the game's going to present, but they're starting to see some of the art assets come out for this and just the concepts behind it. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see more information on this. I'm thinking this is going to be a nice showpiece at E3. So that's when I would expect to see a lot more information on this. They're going to be continuing to release developer diaries and character bios for this game as it continues to go. So keep your eyes out there if you're interested. But Overkill's The Walking Dead should be a lot of fun. So Proulx, that'll be it for this part of the show, and then we'll add a couple bits here to the end. But before we do so, why don't you sign us out? Let us know where we can reach you, game with you, etc.
Yeah, of course. People can find me on Twitter at @OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the word.
Wonderful. And there's so many ways to get a hold of me. At Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE. That's my Twitter account. Gamertag, etc. And then, of course, you should come and hang out with us at the official Z2Z Discord channel, discord.io/Z2Z. And if that's not your bag, you don't want to do it the chat server, because the web version of that, or the phone version, is really great too. You really can stay on top of all of the goings-on in the Z2Z community through that. But the one place it does, or the one thing it doesn't have, is access to all of our contests. So you'll hear more about those contests at the end of the show. I should probably introduce the January contests during the end of this show. And so you'll hear about those, but to find more details on that, you should head over to our forums, forum.z2z.com. So with that, let's kick it over to man. Do we have a review, Zed? I saw Planting playing something. I think I introduced a review Zed last show, and then it never showed up. So maybe you guys will do one. There'll certainly be a random a what the L segment. So let's move into those bits, and then I'll finish up with contests. Other than that, Proulx, thanks again for sticking with me in 2017. It's been great. I really appreciate your contributions to the show. It's been fun, and so to a prosperous and exciting 2018. We'll talk to you next year.
Second star to the right.
Say what? Is that a Peter Pan reference?
It's actually a Star Trek reference to a Peter Pan reference. There's a lot of levels to it, so just ignore it.
Sounds good. All right. We'll catch you guys later.
What the L with the RTDL?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our holiday coma edition of What the L with the RTDL. I am Big Al.
And I am Elroy. And today we are joined by a very special guest. You might know him as Proulx.
Hi, sorry, this is my first time. I'm a little nervous. I've been very excited to be asked to be on the segment here, and apparently, according to what Elroy has written for me here, it is the height of my podcasting career. So, congratulations all around, I think.
Congratulations, you have made it to the apex. But, Proulx, What would you say to the naysayers who would question your appearance on the show? Because much like the holiday season, Proulx suffers from no L. And even though there is an L in your name, you don't recognize it. Yet here you sit on What the L. So what the L, Proulx?
That is true. You know, I guess you can't really say I have no L. It's just, it's kind of a fake L. So maybe that's my thing. And maybe that's why I can qualify to be here.
Very good.
Well, I know we did the What the L Christmas Spectacular last week, but by the time this comes out, everyone will have finished the holiday and have Christmas hangover by now. I, of course, always have a Christmas hangover. Or just a hangover, non-holiday specific.
You always seem to be in the holiday spirits.
Well, I got your Christmas card and I was touched. It said, "Wish you were beer for the holidays."
Hell, you could lead us in a post-Christmas singing of Brewdolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
It is the most wonderful time of the year, guys.
Or you could just teach us how to make gingerbread men.
All right, guys, let's be serious for a minute. Alcoholism affects people from all walks of life, people from a variety of backgrounds, cultures, and upbringings, people of wide age ranges. Alcoholism in America has changed over the years, but if there's one thing that's remained constant, it's the dangerousness of the condition. Alcohol poisoning kills 6 people every day.
Yeah. So, should we talk about what you guys got for Christmas or something?
Well, we didn't last year. What do you think, Elroy? Could be interesting.
Oh, hang on. I know that people prefer that we keep this scripted, so hang on. Let me write it in real quick. Touch screen. Yeah, I'm on the side. Touch screen is a little slower. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good one. All right. Okay, I think we're good. I present Christmas Discussion 2017. Question. Did you get anything gaming or achievement hunting related? How about you, Proulx?
I got a Xbox gift card, so I'll definitely be using that. It's very soon, I'm sure.
My son got Minecraft. I got some achievements while I was sleeping earlier. That was good.
Like the new version of Minecraft?
Yeah, Xbox One Edition.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I got a makeshift achievement hunting related gift. My father, he always gets me at least one gag gift, so this year he got me a toilet paper roll. It's like a toilet paper roll with some electronic gizmos in it. And so basically you record a sound effect, and then when you remove toilet paper from the roll, it makes said sound effect go off. So I thought, it's a topic that is dear to my heart, which is getting achievements for everyday things. So my thinking immediately went to recording the achievement sound effect on said toilet paper roll, the rare one, of course. And every time I turn some toilet paper out, guess what? I get a real world achievement.
You done, Elroy?
Oh,
yeah. It's actually probably time that we listened to Elroy L, because I think he has some things to talk about.
More things? Have you listened to this segment before, Proulx?
Sometimes.
I've had hip surgeries more painful than what we just encountered. But I think he goes on for a little while.
It does.
I think we could play some Borderlands or something, probably do the whole campaign while he's talking. So,
well, let's get to it.
All right, thank y'all for that wonderful intro to the update. It's the end of the month, the end of the year, and the end of the quarter for the RTDL. It's the time of the year that every gaming entity starts to crown their goatee, or the game of the year. For example, TA decided it was Assassin's Creed Banjo-Kazooie. Spoiler alert. While IGN chose The Legend of Zelda. Whatever the case, we can agree on 3 things. 1. Nobody, and I mean nobody, chose NBA 2K18 as their GOATY. Why? Apparently being the Grinch that stole the achievements did not help their cause. But I digress. 2. What the Ale has not yet crowned its Game of the Year. And 3. Lists are better with 3 things. Everybody knows that. Without further ado, the RTDL update plans to Wow, that's, let me try that again. Without further ado, the RTDL update plans to answer this burning question. Who are we kidding? We all know it's Turtles Quest.
I like turtles.
Well, aren't you a great little zombie boy?
I present RTDL update, Turtles Quest
I like turtles.
Thanks, man.
edition. Much like the game, the update is quite short given that there has only been a slim movement in the leaderboard. Also, like What the L GOTY 2017 Turtles Quest,
I like turtles.
the RTDL was a bit glitchy as of late, with Miserly Pluto having issues with his pops. Fortunately, Matriarch and the Tominator, Tommy, were around to help. But much like the game, the glitchiness is charming and made us fall in love with the RTDL even more. In 5th place, Cowboy Killer 360 gets the Turtle Quest
I like turtles.
achievement of Ahoy for just landing. Where Cowboy has landed, however, is at the end of the list. If he looks to hold on to his spot, he could get some easy points from Mass Effect 2 or a slew of others. With the fewest pops of the top 7 on the list, with only 17, is the cup 2/3 full or 1/3 empty?
I believe you mean is the glass half empty or half full. It's a common expression, a proverbial phrase, and generally used rhetorically to indicate that a particular situation could be cause for optimism, i.e. half full, or pessimism, half empty, or as a general litmus test to simply determine an individual's worldview. Did you mean it rhetorically?
Yes.
I like turtles.
In 4th place, the Turtles Quest
I like turtles.
achievement of It's an Old Story goes to one who is no stranger to these lists and has been on them since the dawn of time and has been mentioned many a times.
Superboy?
Nope. It's no other than Urban Spaceman.
I like turtles.
Wrong one, L. I think you wanted to go with a thanks, man, there.
Thanks, man. Oh, and thanks, man, to Proulx, too.
Welcome, man.
Who comes in at the 4th spot with his 22 pops. Unfortunately, his list has a little bit of Elroyitis to it, as his max is well below everyone else in the contention. Welcome to the party, pal. So his upward mobility is somewhat limited. 3rd place, the Turtles Quest I Like Turtles achievement of Booty goes to Wanda's husband, NBA Kirkland, who has been on a tear this week, finding all kinds of hidden RTDL treasures and increasing his number of pops to 24. He is on the clock and needs only to get a 100% sync and brotherhood in the Assassin's Creed Ezio is Not Overrated collection to finish his full combo, which would be the 3rd this month. In 2nd place, the achievement of Old Salt goes to Kahuna, who, as the achievement describes, you got a new cap, even though you lost. Sadly, the cap max of 25 in his full combo is not enough to best that of the 1st place RTDLer of 1st place. Then the top spot, the What the Yell GOTY 2017 Turtles Quest.
Yay,
Turtles!
Achievement of Code of Conduct goes to Rocker Dude for adding extra light red shading to the RTDL with being under the league minimum of 1,000 available Chivos at any given time, and thus has violated the Code of Conduct for the RTDL and has been stripped of his lofty spot on our blessed list. I assure you this ruling has nothing to do with there being not just 1, but 2 NBA 2K18 Chivos on your list, but rather everything to do with the Code of Conduct situation that I just described. In sum, congrats to Kahuna! And that is your RTDL update, Turtles Quest
I like Turtles Quest.
edition.
Wow, that was something. Should we move on to our brand new segment in the segment, Elroy?
Yeah, I think so. This segment is going to be, this is a segment in a segment. It is called the L of the Week. Let me start off by just saying it is kind of the opposite of the Win of the Week. I wouldn't want to rip off any, podcast that is well known and liked and all that good stuff that has possibly a Win of the Week. So this is,
Don't tell Proulx.
This is the L of the Week. And my L of the Week is anime. And by extension, anime games. And by further extension, anime game Chivos. And by even further extension, anime game Chivos on my RTDL. I had 2 of these appear on my RTDL this month. Both from Naruto Sharupa Dupin Ninja Storm 4, which from last Christmas is when I played it. I played this stupid game with my not stupid nephew to pass the time. I had forgotten it existed, and somehow it blended in on my game list, which the irony of a ninja game not being detected in my games list is not lost on me, but with a price point of over $20, I certainly wasn't going to buy this thing, so I had to wait 3 weeks until I went up to Iowa for the holidays to borrow it from my nephew, only to bring it back and realize that the disk storage practices of a 12-year-old are not the best, so it wouldn't load off the disk. After cleaning the game a handful of times, I was finally able to load it up in the game store and then downloading the full 40 gigs to get it started. What this hard work led me to was the privilege of having to get an S ranking, with the S standing for stupid hard, in 2 different sections of the game, including, nothing terribly challenging except for the main freaking boss. So after grinding out a few hours of gameplay to even reach this main boss, I took this new atmosphere of enemy and realized that it had a few flaws. For starters, why is everyone constantly yelling while they stand in what appears to be a recently opened wind tunnel? It's like, ah, and then the other person, and then they just run. So every chapter escalated to this, followed by them running hunched over with their arms straightened behind them like they were skiing or something. I have watched many Olympics, okay, maybe one, once upon a time, I'm not sure. I think I've seen an Olympics, but at some point I've seen one, and I've never seen the participants run around the track staring at the ground with their arms trailing behind them. I'm guessing that if the world's best do not adopt such techniques, that their efficiency is questionable. Once the running was complete, they would then proceed to turn into some creature, fire lasers at each other using their bare hands, or summon the earth around them into meteors. Whatever the method they chose, it would inevitably end with a minimum of one oversized explosion. I thought of the poor common people that live in their world. Does everyone have this ability? If so, what is the point of civilization building in any kind of stable economy or city infrastructure, knowing that any single point in time, a slight skirmish will result in gruntle screaming, unusual running, bizarre weaponry, and devastating consequences to the entire ecosystem? For those reasons, for a complex button system I still don't think I fully understand, and for all the time wasted trying to get a freaking S against the main boss, Ninja Sharupa Dupa Ninja Storm 4 and Anime get my L of the Week.
That's crazy, Elroy. That is just craziness, because I, too, had 2 anime-based game achievements on my RTDL, and I only got one of them, and the harder one was for getting S-ranks as well.
Stupid hard.
That was serendipitous. That's not my L of the week, though. You know what my L of the week goes towards?
I'd love to hear.
When you're playing a game and you do the thing that you're supposed to do and nothing ever pops, and you feel like you want to throw your controller at your TV in frustration, so you try to boot up the game again and fulfill the achievement requirement again, and it still doesn't unlock, and then you do the uninstall dance, and then you try to do the clear the cache dance, and it's the worst, and I hate it, and it's awful. Well, that's what happened to me this week, and you will never guess what type of game forced me to deal with this.
Who has damaged you such?
It was an ACA game.
No.
For the 4th time, I think, in a row, every time I play these stupid games, this happens to me. So that's it. It's not even my L of the week. It's the stupid hamster company, which is stupid and terrible, and they're the L of this week for me.
Did it make you want to grunt and then run with your arms behind you as you looked at the ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
And smash the disk. Well, there's no disk, but smash the hard drive. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wanted me to do all the things.
Excellent. What about you, El?
Wow. Well, for my L of the week, it's a tie between having hip replacement surgery and hearing you guys talk about ACA Neo Geo games all the time. I mean, on Discord and my TA feed, it's all ACA games. I thought we were going to have a debate here with Proulx moderating, but I think I know what side he's going to be on.
Yes,
But what I wanted to say is that if I had $8 and I could get a game that is broken, old, and seemingly crappy and glitchy, or I could buy a sandwich, what do you think I would spend my $8 on?
What kind of sandwich is it?
One with bread, and anything in the middle.
I would split the difference and just go for both. Why not have a sandwich while you're playing a terrible ACA game?
But then I'd be spending $16, Proulx. I don't have that kind of money.
So a sandwich to you is bread and something in between it?
Yes.
So
now,
is a hot dog a sandwich?
Depends how Jewish I'm feeling.
What if you put not a hot dog? What if you put bread in between the bread? Does that still count as a sandwich?
Yeah, it's a bread sandwich, absolutely.
Okay, I've never heard of such a thing, but
what about
I can get on board.
Well,
what
that
about
sounds better than playing Neo Geo games.
What about a quesadilla?
Ooh, Mexican food.
It's technically
Mexican
bread.
sandwich.
Yeah, it's technically bread with cheese in it.
Does grilled cheese count as a sandwich?
I like cheese.
Okay, so yeah, we were planning on doing, we can still do it. I will try to remain objective, and I will moderate the 2 points. However, there is 1 point that obviously is going to win no matter what. But no, I'll try to keep my objectivity here, guys. So are ACA games garbage or not? And for the pro side, we have L, and for the against side, we have Elroy. So you guys go ahead. Which one? Tell me why. I already know they are.
I think he's the pro side, Proulx. You're already
did I mix
too
it up?
well at this game.
Sorry. I'm very nervous. It's my first time.
I was sitting there just thinking, is a corn dog a sandwich?
No, that's only one solid piece of breading going all the way around. That doesn't count. Because then a calzone would be a bread too. Or a sandwich.
Wait, so what about like a sub? A sub is just one piece of bread cut in half, not all the way through. It's still kind of connected at the end. And then you shove things in it.
Do you have Subway where you're at Hicksville? Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Yeah, isn't that where you're from?
I feel like you know me so well. So
I do. Tennessee, of course. I know you're from, dude.
Yes, okay. So,
You can
ACA
get $5
games.
footlongs.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So,
go ahead. I can't
yes.
wait to hear what you think is good about these. Go ahead.
Okay, so what are we here for? Are we not the few, the proud, the 1%, according to Windows, or according to Microsoft? Are we not the 1%, top 1% of achievement hunting fanatics? Now, with that in mind, what is the ultimate goal of the achievement hunter? Is it to just lollygag around and play a game for 120 hours to get 1,000 points? Or is an achievement hunter all about getting the achievements, which the ACA makes it quick, painless, challenging?
Don't say painless. You don't mean that.
Okay, that might have been slipped. But it is nonetheless a quick means to the end. Is that the right way to phrase this? So, if you want to be efficient, you can spend $60 on some new release, some WWE game or something like that, or you can get 7 games for the price of 1, all which have easier achievements and all which you will finish before finishing said full price game. And hence,
if it works,
it's 7-fold. Now, go ahead.
So then L, let's hear your side. You have less than a minute. Go.
Well, good. Well, I've never played one, but
Hypocrite! I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Is that a hip joke? But I've seen nobody ever say, wow, that was a fun experience. Oh, that was totally worth the $8. And yes, while we are on an achievement hunting site, I think that you can get some better games, maybe like, I don't know, Brothers, where you can get an easy 1,000 and actually have some fun playing. There's definitely some games out there that you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I think. That you can get an easy 1,000 points and actually still have fun playing. That is my
Now,
point.
Since you admittingly say that you have never played an ACA game, have not been through the trials and tribulations that Proulx and I have faced many a time, I have a suggestion. For $8, you can get this wonderful game. It's called Robo Army. It's about a cyborg who goes around killing other things. I figured that would have a soft spot in your heart.
Okay, sounds good. Do you know why else I've never played a Neo Geo game?
Because you don't have $8.
Well, that is true. I
You're
was
dead
going to say they've never been on sale. Now, if they were like $2, you might be able to change my mind. But now they have Windows 10 stacks as well. Have you gotten any of these yet?
Yes, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Half dreading it.
I was giddy when I saw that. I forgot even what I was doing. I heard it on the last podcast with Mighty Mango, and I really appreciate that tidbit. Even though it resulted in me immediately closing the podcast and running to my computer to see which ones they were.
I believe Mighty Mango said that the pauses when the achievements pop are not present on the Win 10 versions. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It actually works a lot better. I guess they figured it out finally, only after a few years.
I think those games came out 30 years ago, dude.
It's taken them a long time. Just like this segment. Okay, heading to the end here, and so I'm gonna rule, and I'm actually gonna split the difference here. I'm gonna say.
Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I like turtles.
All right, you're great zombie. And good times here at the Waterfront Village, open for the next 11 days.